In Konoha the opening game plays as Jikuni Yuanichi Chapter 226-250. Chapter 226. Sakura's forehead began to sweat. Hitaki Kusuo stepped to Sakura's side. How is she? Sakura didn't answer, but still looked at Hinata seriously. The chakra she collected didn't weaken at all, but strengthened a lot. Huh? How could it be? Hitaki Kusuo looked at Hinata with some concern. There's nothing wrong with her eyes, how could it be? When Sakura's chakra touched the black aura would immediately dodge to the side. Sorry, Master Kusuo, I can't find out what's wrong with Hinata. Just at this moment, the door of the Hokage's office was suddenly pushed open. Hurry! Sakura! Something happened. Hitaki Kusuo turned his head and looked at the panting Choji. Choji still had a lot of wounds on his body. How did it happen? Hitaki Kusuo's voice sounded. Choji looked at Hitaki Kusuo in surprise, and then he was relieved. Eight-tailed Ushio. It's outside the village. Hitaki Kusuo frowned and patted Sakura lightly. Please keep an eye on Hinata for me. The body disappeared in the Hokage's office in an instant. As soon as they left Konoha village, the outside of the village was filled with strong chakra. Many of the Jonin in the village had gathered at the gate of Konoha. Master Kusuo is here. Hearing his name, the Konoha ninjas were full of fighting spirit. Hitaki Kusuo ignored everyone and rushed out directly. The eight-tailed Ushiki was going crazy at the entrance of the village. This time, Uchiha Obito was not present. Hitaki Kusuo narrowed his eyes and drew his sword. Sun breathing. Train. Just as the eight-tailed Ushiki was about to fight back, the overwhelming flames blasted the eight-tailed away. Ouch! The eight-tailed Ushiki roared to the sky. Isn't it enough? You're asking for trouble. Hitaki Kusuo finished speaking and rushed out with a flash. Boom! Another powerful force, the eight-tailed Ushiki's body was heavily blasted to the ground. Sun-breathing diaresis. The overwhelming sword shadows immediately swallowed the eight-tailed Ushiki's body. After the sword shadows, the eight-tailed Ushiki's figure finally fell to the ground. Great! Thank you, Lord Kusuo. The body of the eight tails gradually became smaller, and a blue chakra gradually disappeared and dissipated into the air. Hitaki Kusuo looked at this scene with a puzzled expression. But he still didn't say a word. Lord Kusuo. A figure suddenly appeared in Hitaki Kusuo. Ibiki Moriki knelt on one knee and appeared in front of Rabbit. Lord Kusuo. We found a figure in the forest. Hitaki Kusuo instantly understood that someone must have been operating all this from a distance. Send someone to check what's going on immediately. Yes, Lord Kusuo. At Hitaki Kusuo's command, more than a dozen figures immediately rushed into the forest. However, Hitaki Kusuo stood there motionless, just silently watching everything in front of him. The body of the eight tails has begun to gradually recover and turned into a human form. Kurabi. Hitaki Kusuo immediately flew down to see, and found that someone had drawn a mysterious spell on his chest. Hitaki Kusuo stretched out his hand and carefully sensed the power contained in the spell. It was only then that he found that the power was almost the same as the power contained in Hinata's eyes. Nagato. Hitaki Kusuo understood the matter in his heart instantly. If it was not Uchiha Obito who did it, then it was Nagato who did it. It must be related to these two people. Sir Kusuo. Moriki Ibiki and others returned again, but the expressions on their faces were indeed a little nervous. What's the matter? Hitaki Kusuo asked coldly. Sir, I'm sorry, the person had left when we arrived. Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo frowned and was about to complain. Kuroko on the side suddenly rushed over with an anxious look on his face. Sir, Hinata's eyes. Kuroko hesitated for a long time and dared not say anything. Hitaki Kusuo panicked as soon as he heard that Hinata was in trouble. But there were still many people here, so Hitaki Kusuo pretended to be firm and asked. What's the situation? Hinata's eyes are bleeding, I don't know the situation. What? Hitaki Kusuo was furious. With a flash, Hitaki Kusuo came directly to Hinata's side. At this moment, Hinata's eyes were bleeding. Hinata. Hitaki Kusuo called tentatively. Hinata's eyes were a little panicked, and she stretched out her hands to grab everywhere. What is going on? A huge no one in Konoha village could help Hinata. Sister Hinata. Shion came to Hinata. Her eyes suddenly became very solemn. It's a curse. Hitaki Kusuo carefully felt the power in Hinata's pupils, and the feeling was very familiar. It was Nagato's samsara eye. This is a curse that can absorb Sister Hinata's power and strengthen itself. Hitaki Kusuo became more and more angry when he heard Shion's words. I thought Uchiha Obito would quickly gather chakra to summon the Outer Path Demon statue. But I didn't expect so many changes to happen in the meantime. Brother Kusuo, if you continue like this, Sister Hinata's eyes will go blind. Hitaki Kusuo clenched his fists when he heard it. The only way to help Hinata at the moment is to get a new pair of eyes. Hitaki Kusuo hesitated for a while, and finally took out the samsara eye. Shion, take this and the grayer mineral heart and help Hinata get a new pair of eyes. Shion trembled for a while before taking the two. After a whole night, Kusuo Hitaki had been guarding Hinata. Shion and Sakura relied on the grayer mineral heart and Sakura's medical ninjutsu to help Hinata's eyes completely. The next morning was clear. The sun shone into the house, and several people fell asleep in the house because of the hard work of the night. Kusuo. Hinata called Kusuo Hitaki's name as soon as she opened her eyes. Huh. Although Kusuo Hitaki was leaning against the door, he immediately got up and rushed into the house when he heard the voice. Hinata. Are you okay? Hinata stared at Kusuo Hitaki blankly and blinked. The pair of eyes that originally belonged to her were now emitting a trace of black air. And it has begun to wither gradually. Ah! Hinata screamed in shock when she saw this scene, and threw herself into the arms of Hitaki Kusuo. What's wrong? The other people in the room opened their eyes when they heard the sound. Hinata's white pupils have been replaced with a pair of reincarnation eyes. It's okay, your eyes have been put under a spell by Nagato before, and now they have been dealt with. Chapter 227. Hinata looked at her pair of abandoned white eyes, and her emotions were very complicated. I'll go find Nagato. You and Shion have a good rest here. Before Hinata could speak, Hitaki Kusuo disappeared. Standing on the gate of Konoha, Hitaki Kusuo quickly made a seal. Ibiki Moriki and Kuroko immediately appeared beside Hitaki Kusuo. Lord Kusuo, what do you want? Have you found any clues about Nagato? And the last time we found the Hidden Star Village. In fact, Kusuo Hitaki still wanted to win over the Hidden Star Village. It was just because the eggplant he met last time was too stubborn. And the eggplant he met that day was also bewitched by Orochimaru. Kusuo Hitaki still vaguely remembered that there was a technology that had existed for a long time in their Hidden Star Village. The reason why Orochimaru bewitched him was probably for this technology. Kusuo Hitaki had a very clear memory of the overall situation. If they could master this technology, even if they met Shell in the future, the organization would not be as embarrassed as before. It seems that I have to do it myself this time. The meteorite that Kusuo Hitaki met last time was only a part of the meteorite. At that time, Kusuo Hitaki went back and chopped the meteorite into pieces, and did not take the remaining fragments back for research. This time, the Star Ninja Village that Kusuo Hitaki went to was exactly where the Star Ninja Village was originally located. When Kusuo Hitaki just arrived at the Star Ninja Village, he found that the whole village was full of ninjas wearing armor. It looks like there is some trouble. Kusuo Hitaki sneaked into the village quietly under the cover of night, and just when he walked to the entrance of the village, he met a child. Isn't this Aang? Kusuo Hitaki vaguely remembered that in the original book, it was this child who brought Naruto to the village. Who are you? So sneaky. Kusuo Hitaki was a little surprised after hearing the voice. This child who looked only 16 years old in front of him was not afraid of people like him at all. I am Kusuo Hitaki. Kusuo Hitaki directly reported his name, but after hearing it, the boy curled his lips. I don't know you. After the voice fell, Aang continued to hide on the side of a wall, as if looking at something in the village. What are you looking at? Hitaki Kusuo instantly recalled the last moment of Aang in the original book when his mother was there. A very strong feeling of pity filled Hitaki Kusuo's heart. It has nothing to do with you. Aang glanced at him, and Hitaki Kusuo continued to observe. Hitaki Kusuo knew that Aang wanted to save the village at this time. It's just that Aang didn't have such strong strength. If you need my help, I can consider helping you. Sure enough, when Hitaki Kusuo finished saying this, Aang's body shook slightly. If you can really help me, can you help me save the village? Hitaki Kusuo heard this sentence, then he raised his eyebrows. Such words coming from a teenager sounded a bit surprising. Why are you people from the Star Ninja village dressed like this? As soon as Hitaki Kusuo finished speaking, the boy's expression became extremely lost. In fact, they are no longer my villagers. Many of them have sold their souls in pursuit of stronger power. Hitaki Kusuo looked at Aang in confusion. Aang continued to explain. The power of the meteorite in the village has been known to the outside world, so a mysterious person came some time ago and said he would help us gain stronger power. After that, all the strongest ninjas in the village disappeared. Hitaki Kusuo was still clear about this matter, and those people had already been killed by the sword. What's the benefit if I help you? Just as Hitaki Kusuo finished speaking, a woman instantly appeared behind Hitaki Kusuo. Peacock magic. The purple chakra immediately rushed towards the body of the spinning top. Hitaki Kusuo did not dodge, but just slightly turned sideways to avoid it. With Hitaki Kusuo's strength, he had actually discovered all this in the transparent world when Shari came over. The reason why Hitaki Kusuo did not choose to take action was because Hitaki Kusuo knew that Shari was Aang's mother. The reason why he could do such a thing was probably because he misunderstood himself. Mother, he is Hitaki Kusuo. Aang blocked Hitaki Kusuo in front of him. Hitaki Kusuo. Shari laughed at herself. How could she not have heard of the name of Hitaki Kusuo? But with Shari's strength, how could she possibly invite a general like Hitaki Kusuo? Peacock magic. In fact, Shari really hoped that this was true, but Shari really didn't have the confidence to let someone like Hitaki Kusuo help her. Hitaki Kusuo looked at the ninjutsu performed by Shari with a smile on his face. Peacock magic is also a relatively rare ninjutsu. This ninjutsu is practiced from the chakra of the 10 tails. If it can be used, it will be of great benefit to the strengthening of the body. And the reason why the people in their Star Ninja village have a short life is because of the magazines filtered from the chakra of the 10 tails. Ordinary people's bodies cannot bear the power of the 10 tails chakra at all. Can you take me to your meteorite to have a look? Shari nodded, but when he looked at the village, his eyes were very alert. What's going on with these people? Hitaki Kusuo carefully felt the power of these people, and suddenly found that each of them had a chakra thread controlling them. Who enslaved you? Hitaki Kusuo turned his head to look at Shari, and Shari's eyes were full of complicated emotions. This matter cannot be explained for a while, but I will never let the people of the Star Ninja village become its slaves. When Shari spoke, his hands were tightly clenched together. The purple chakra surrounded Dao Zi's hands and kept spinning. Shari's voice attracted a lot of people's attention. All of a sudden, a group of armored ninjas immediately surrounded them. Peacock magic. Shari immediately performed the peacock magic. But what surprised Kusuo Hitaki was that the people in front of him actually formed seals at the same time. The peacock magic used was almost the same as the one used by Shari. After seeing this scene, Kusuo Hitaki frowned slightly. Who on earth can transform all these people into puppets? Chapter 228. There is no time to worry about these things now. The most important thing is to deal with these people in front of us. After the voice fell, Shari quickly formed seals with both hands. Peacock magic. It was also the first time that Kusuo Hitaki saw this ninjutsu up close. Sure enough, the peacock magic still has its own characteristics. The surrounding puppets saw the blooming purple chakra and immediately stepped back a few steps. It seemed that they were a little afraid of this power, but they soon found Kusuo Hitaki next to Shari. Although they were far away from Shari, they had no intention of letting Kusuo Hataki go. Swoosh! A puppet from the Star Ninja village rushed directly in front of Kusuo Hataki. The hand in his mouth immediately sucked Kusuo Hataki's neck tightly. Seeing this scene, Kusuo Hataki frowned slightly. Get out of the way, I'll help you. Shari pushed the puppet in front of him and blocked Kusuo Hataki. But Kusuo Hataki patted Shari's shoulder. I can do it myself. Although Shari was a little shocked, she still followed Kusuo Hataki's idea. Suo Hataki stood in place, and several ninjas from the Star Ninja village around him immediately rushed towards Kusuo Hataki. Peacock magic. Suo Hataki was a little surprised to see that these ninjas who had become puppets could still perform their Star Ninja village's ninjutsu. If you can't handle them, leave it to me. Shari had already taken out the shuriken from his weapon bag. Hataki Kusuo did not answer, but just waved his hand gently. Ninjas from the Star Ninja village rarely come into contact with people from the outside world. He is also very low-key in his dealings with others. The reason why Hataki Kusuo let them attack recklessly was that he wanted to feel the strength of the peacock magic. Shari saw Hataki Kusuo being attacked continuously, and was also worried for Hataki Kusuo. Although Shari didn't know Hataki Kusuo's strength, Hataki Kusuo was willing to help their Star Ninja village after all. Don't worry. It's okay. After a few moves in succession, Hataki Kusuo has gradually discovered the habits of the Star Ninja village ninjas. Watching the other party's continuous ninjutsu, Hataki Kusuo found that the number of people they used basically needed to turn their chakra into a solid form first. This can improve their attack strength to a certain extent. But this is also the weakness of their Star Ninja village. Facing the attack coming towards him, Hataki Kusuo just dodged. Occasionally, he would pretend to be weak and have a close collision with the other party. Mother. Will Kusuo Hataki be okay? Aang, who was standing aside, was a little worried about Kusuo Hataki. Don't worry, this person is much stronger than we thought. Although it was just a few moves, Shari also saw that Kusuo Hataki's basic skills were very solid. And Kusuo Hataki's own strength should not be weak. Sure enough, Kusuo Hataki still kept some strength when he attacked. Kusuo Hataki, I'll help you. Aang watched Kusuo Hataki being attacked continuously, and finally couldn't help but rushed over. But Aang's strength was that of a child after all. A puppet hit Aang and knocked Aang aside with one punch. Seeing this, Shari caught the flying Aang at the first time. And Kusuo Hataki quickly appeared behind the puppet. Zero, please give me flowers, breath of the sun. The knife instantly chopped hundreds of times behind the puppet. The puppet's body shook violently, and then slowly stood still. What's wrong with me? The puppet looked at his hands in surprise, and then turned his head to look at his companions. But the puppets around him quickly took out their shuriken and rushed to the man. Just when Shari was about to rush to save people, Hataki Kusuo suddenly rushed over and brought Shari down. I can't go over to save them now. If I go over, I will be risking my life. Zero. Sure enough, when Shari looked up, the ninja had been pierced by the shuriken of several other puppets. Sure enough, it's really like this. Hataki Kusuo kept shuttling behind them, and the knife in his hand kept slashing at them. Anyway, after just a few minutes, the bodies of several of them were all motionless at the same time. What's going on? Shari looked at Kusuo Hataki in confusion, and hurried forward to help several villagers. These people have been put under puppetry, but I don't know who has such a powerful puppetry. Kusuo Hataki suddenly thought of someone in his heart. I had heard from Kuroko before that Orochimaru had stolen all the puppet secrets from Chiyo. Maybe this matter is closely related to Orochimaru. However, after the puppets in the village discovered the battle here, they immediately rushed towards them. Take them away quickly. Otherwise, they will probably end up like that person just now. Shari immediately remembered the state of the villager who died just now. Chapter 229. Hurry up. Before these villagers came back, Shari took them and ran out towards the village entrance. A large number of puppets in the village ran towards Kusuo Hataki. Many of the ninjas were also performing the peacock magic. Hitaki Kusuo narrowed his eyes and tightened his knife. It was not a difficult thing for him to remove the chakra lines from these ordinary ninjas. However, if he wanted to save all the people in the village, it would not be a simple matter. Just when Shari and his friends were about to escape, the few ninjas who had returned to normal immediately turned back to the way they were before 820. Hitaki Kusuo carefully observed through the transparent world and found that the chakras that had been cut off from their bodies were reconnected. How could this be? After reading this, he found that these villagers had more than one chakra thread on their bodies. I will never let our people become like this. Looking at them, who had originally recovered their sanity, losing consciousness again and again. Shari finally couldn't bear it anymore and rushed towards them. Don't be impulsive. Hitaki Kusuo stretched out his hand to stop him, but Shari passed right by him. Hitaki Kusuo looked at Shari in shock. The power Shari had just used was very similar to the Kamui used by Uchiha Obito. Could that star bring such a strong power to people? Hitaki Kusuo was a little bit unbelievable. Peacock magic. Shari rushed into the crowd in an instant, and a large number of puppets surrounded Shari tightly. Shari. Hitaki Kusuo finally couldn't stand it anymore, and immediately rushed into the crowd with the knife in his hand. Hitaki Kusuo didn't use all his strength. After all, Hitaki Kusuo knew that if he used all his strength, these puppets would not be a big deal to him. But there were many people around him this time, and Hitaki Kusuo didn't want to hurt them by mistake. Lord Kusuo, since you have such a strong power, please, can you help save our village? Shari fluttered and knelt directly in front of Hitaki Kusuo. Although the villagers around him have now returned to normal. But Shari also knew that if another group of puppets rushed over in a while, their bodies would definitely turn into puppets again. If we really want to help them now, we must find someone who can perform this number of people. But finding this person is undoubtedly difficult. Our only choice now is to retreat from here first, and then we will come back together and find a way to solve their problems. Although Shari was worried about the villagers of the Star Ninja Village, he had no choice but to nod and agree. At this point, except for Kusuo Hitaki, no one can help the Star Ninja Village anymore. In fact, you should practice your chakra well. Kusuo Hitaki turned his head and glanced at Shari, but Shari's expression was a little confused. At that time, the huge star fell here, and all of us relied on practicing the chakra in this star every day. I have also been practicing hard. Although Shari said so, Kusuo Hitaki could clearly feel that Tauzi's body could not hold on for too long through the transparent world. After all, the chakra contained in this star belongs to the 10 tails. When ordinary people practice, their bodies will definitely suffer losses 0. And the current Star Ninja Village has not cooperated with other big ninja villages. If we can cooperate with Konoha Village, we may be able to remove the damage contained in this star. If you want me to cooperate with you, there is also a condition. Hitaki Kusuo glanced at Shari. Shari's eyes were full of mixed emotions. For such a long time, our Star Ninja Village has never communicated too much with other villages. We just practice our abilities seriously every day. Hearing Shari's words, coupled with the current situation in the village, Hitaki Kusuo immediately understood. The last time he met Xingying, he must have been bewitched by Orochimaru and others. And it is estimated that the star they can find here now should no longer be the complete star at that time. I put forward the conditions for you. If you agree, I will also help you solve the problems in your village. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari looked at Hitaki Kusuo. The two of them took Aang and ran all the way to a place where there was no one. From time to time, there were a few puppet soldiers chasing them behind them. But as they went deeper into the forest, the puppet soldiers began to catch up. When Hitaki Kusuo was sure that there were no pursuers behind him, he stopped with Shari. In fact, I also want to agree to you, but I need to overthrow the Xingying in the village. After the death of the previous Xingying, this time the Xingying summoned everyone to practice the power of the star at will. In fact, Shari does not advocate that everyone practice this power, because the power contained in this star is not suitable for everyone to practice. Although Shari is strong now, Shari also knows that everyone who practices this power will not live for too long. Chapter 230. They made the people in your village into puppets just to allow them to better practice the power of the star. After Hitaki Kusuo finished speaking, Shari was speechless. I'll take you into the village tonight. There are very few puppet soldiers in the village at night. The night finally came tonight, and under Shari's leadership, the three finally entered the Star Ninja village. When they just entered the house, Shari suddenly knelt on one knee to Hitaki Kusuo. I am willing to agree to your request, but you must also promise me to help me overthrow Xingying. Hitaki Kusuo took a star-shaped cup in the house with a hint of playfulness. Hitaki Kusuo looked around the whole house, and then he found that almost everything in the house was in the shape of a hexagonal star. Hitaki Kusuo has also felt the power of the Peacock 06 magic on them today. If he can take such a grandson into his hands, it will be a great help for Hitaki Kusuo. Are you asking me for something? Listening to the cold voice of Kusuo Hitaki, Shari was shocked. As long as you are willing to help me overthrow the seed in this village, I will do whatever you ask me to do. Kusuo Hitaki clenched the knife in his hand and looked out the window. As long as you are willing to bring the people of your Star Ninja village to surrender to me. And you have to hand over your star. I can consider agreeing with your idea. Shari nodded without hesitation. As long as you can help these people in my village get rid of the damage on their bodies, I can hand over the star in the village. Although their Star Ninja village people have been practicing all the time. But the power contained in the star has caused great damage to their bodies. In fact, I have heard of the name of Lord Kusuo before. I believe you must have a way to help our Star Ninja village. Hitaki Kusuo looked outside the village with indifference. After a period of time, Hitaki Kusuo has scanned the entire village through the transparent world. But Hitaki Kusuo did not find anything unusual. The village was full of shangzi, but a lot of chakra lines were found in the village. All the people who practiced the peacock secret method in the village have been gathered in the same house. It doesn't take much to guess that there must be a house where the star is placed. And other ordinary villagers returned to their normal state at night and farmed and harvested in the village. Even after several searches, Hitaki Kusuo still did not find any trace of Orochimaru. Don't go out at night. There are a lot of poisonous gases outside this village. Once you are poisoned by them, it will be troublesome. Hitaki Kusuo was a little surprised after hearing this. Don't worry, I won't go out. And our agreement is reached. I can help you overthrow their politics, but in exchange, after this matter is done, I will take your star away. Shari nodded slightly after hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said. Since Shari decided to cooperate with Hitaki Kusuo, it was naturally for the better survival of the people in the village. At present, if the Star Ninja village does not deal with this star, all the people are likely to die on this star. Hitaki Kusuo carefully felt the power of the star. The power contained in the knife in Hitaki Kusuo's hand is not strong enough. If the chakra in it is extracted and handed over to Uchiha Obito. If the remaining star is forged into a short sword, the power that Kusuo Hitaki can call out in the next battle will be even stronger. Kusuo Hitaki did not intend to use this star to practice the peacock secret method. After all, what Kusuo Hitaki needs to practice now is his role value. The most important thing is to find an opponent who is strong enough. However, this star cannot bring such a strong improvement to others. The peacock secret method will cause very serious harm to people. And once the Star Ninja village does not have this star, those who practice this secret method will naturally lose these powers. Although the peacock secret method cannot be used for practice, the peacock secret method has some other advantages. This practice method can not only make your own chakra into various forms. You can even use a similar method to extract the opponent's chakra, which is also an indispensable weapon in battle. Even after using the peacock secret method, the wings that are transformed can also fly. Kusuo Hitaki does not intend to give up the peacock life method with so many advantages. Kusuo Hitaki looked at Shari and Aang beside him. Aang was already asleep at this moment, but Shari was looking out the window with a worried look. Those puppets will come out again at dawn. Shari said softly. What are the characteristics of these puppets? Kusuo Hitaki was a little curious. After all, these people were still living people. If you refine yourself into a puppet like the red sand scorpion, you need to replace many organs in your body. Kusuo Hitaki quickly made a seal and called Kuroko over. The night was getting darker and darker, and finally Shari fell asleep. Chapter 231. Lord Kusuo. Kuroko's voice came from outside the house. Kusuo Hitaki stood up, and suddenly the voice disappeared. Did you find anything in the investigation in the sand village before? After hearing this, Kuroko's face showed a worried expression. When we were looking for grayer ore last time, Orochimaru personally took action, knocked down Chiyo, and took away Chiyo's things. It is said that one of them is Chiyo's secret technique of making puppets. It can make living people into puppets. After hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo's eyes tightened. It is true. The rumor that Chiyo's secret technique of making puppets was lost in Orochimaru's hands. But with Hitaki Kusuo's understanding of Orochimaru, he would never put his hobby on an ordinary puppet technique. Orochimaru's favorite thing to do is human experiments. I am afraid that the only thing that can interest Orochimaru is to make living people into puppets. Looking at it again, so many people in the current Star Ninja village have been made into puppets, which is very likely the credit of Orochimaru. Lord Kusuo, I just met some living people in this village who were made into puppets. It should be Orochimaru who did it. Kuroko told Hitaki Kusuo everything he encountered along the way. Okay, you can go now. After saying this, Kusuo Hitaki went back to the house. Kuroko was stunned for a moment, but hurried back. After all, the Demon Slayer Corps still needs people. Kuroko was not worried about the living puppets in the village. The ninjas of the Star Ninja village were not strong in themselves, and their strength would not change much after being made into puppets. All night long, Kusuo Hitaki has been thinking about how to transform this planet into something else. At the same time, he was also thinking about how to spread the peacock magic. This way of chakra cultivation is really too powerful. It is really difficult for ordinary people to make physical changes to chakra. But for some powerful Jonin, this can indeed make up for many of their shortcomings in the mission. Kusuo Hitaki decided that after he got the peacock magic, he must let everyone in his Demon Slayer Corps learn it as soon as possible. Just like they have learned the breathing law now. Early the next morning, after waking up, Shari turned his head and looked at Kusuo Hitaki. Kusuo Hitaki was standing at the door, holding his short sword tightly. Are you awake? Kusuo Hitaki asked lightly. Shari was a little dazed for a while, but he quickly took the weapon bag. At the same time, he put all the detonating tags at home into the bag. Kusuo Hitaki looked at Shari with interest. Shari then realized that Kusuo Hitaki was looking at him. What's wrong? Kusuo Hitaki didn't say anything and was still standing at the door. Until Shari had prepared all the weapons, he pushed open the door. As soon as he walked out of the door, Shari immediately took out a flare in his hand and released it into the sky. The red flare was hung high in the Star Ninja village. At the same time, there was a rustling sound outside the house. Soon, about 10 Star Ninjas appeared in the house. This is all our people. Kusuo Hitaki used the transparent world on several people and made a simple inspection. Sure enough, each of them had more or less injuries. And these scars were naturally caused by this star. You are releasing signals so blatantly, aren't you afraid that they will find out? Kusuo Hitaki looked around and used the transparent world to find that many puppet soldiers were rushing here. Even the senior ninjas who were training next to the star last night have all rushed here. The strength of the Star Ninja village is not very strong. 20 or 30 senior ninjas are already a very strong lineup. Among the senior ninjas next to Shari, there are only 3 or 5 senior ninjas. In such a situation of such a huge disparity in strength, once a battle occurs, Shari and others will surely die. Today we have made a desperate bet. I hope you can help us overturn the policy and save the people in the village from the dire situation. After saying this, Hitaki Kusuo just nodded. Hitaki Kusuo knew in his heart that Shari did not realize the seriousness of the problems encountered by the Star Ninja village at this time. The real occupant of their star ninja village is not this moneyed star, nor the current star shadow. It is the person who really made them puppets behind the scenes. I believe that as long as we overthrow the rule of this generation of star shadow, they will definitely return to normal. Shari clenched his hands tightly together. There was a murderous look in his eyes. The murderous look in his eyes shocked Kusuo Hitaki. Just when the team was about to set off, the door behind them suddenly opened. I'm ready too. A childish voice came from behind Kusuo Hitaki. When he turned around, Kusuo Hitaki saw 16-year-old Aang equipped with all his weapons and walked out of the house. Chapter 232. It must be said that the ninjas of the Star Ninja Village are indeed very united. When faced with danger, not even a child was willing to retreat. Kusuo Hitaki could clearly feel that more than 20 Jonins had gathered outside the door. Among them, the two leading the way were elite Jonins. Although such a lineup would not be good enough in other villages. But these people in the Star Ninja Village were almost half of the village's strength. Kusuo Hitaki didn't know why the Hokage never unified the village. Maybe it was related to the poison barrier outside the Star Ninja Village. Maybe it's because the power of Shing is not recognized by the previous Hokage. What should we do now? One of the ninjas looked at Shari. These people are Shari's own confidants. Listen to Hitaki Kusuo on this matter. After hearing this, several people stole questioning glances at Hitaki Kusuo. But Hitaki Kusuo was not angry. They, the people of Shing Ninja Village, rarely contact the outside world. It's normal that they don't know much about Hitaki Kusuo's reputation. We have already planted our own spies next to Shing. If you want to take action, you can attack at any time. After hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo was not in a hurry. Because at present, with the strength of several of them, they have not been able to sense those people outside the house. However, they don't know that the people they have planted next to the bathroom have been controlled at this moment. It is not difficult for Xingying to find these rebels with his strength. Click. A strange sound came from outside the door. What's that sound? Shari. Several people looked at each other. No one knew where the sound came from. Your guests have arrived. Hitaki Nan. After Shang finished saying this, the puppet soldiers outside the house kicked the doors to pieces. You. Shari and the others looked at these familiar villagers, who had now become their enemies. It's useless. If you can't find their source, then you can't solve the control on his body. They could clearly sense the source of the chakra lines on their bodies, which was on the star. Now all of us rushed towards the star. Knock down the star shadow there. After saying this, several people including Aang rushed directly to the position of the star. Hitaki Kusuo saw this and had to shake his head helplessly. The star ninja outside the house had already killed in front of him. Hitaki Kusuo drew his short sword in an instant. The wind from the sword blew everyone close. After a few short swords, the few people who had rushed into the yard had recovered their consciousness. The chakra lines that originally controlled them had been cut off by Hitaki Kusuo. The minds of several people finally returned to normal. What's going on? They all looked at their bodies in surprise. They had no idea how they got here. Just when Kusuo Hitaki was about to explain to them, several puppet soldiers appeared in the yard. The red color appeared in the eyes of those who had been saved by Kusuo Hitaki again. And their movements also slowed down. Using the transparent world, Kusuo Hitaki found that their bodies had returned to the controlled state. Kusuo Hitaki observed carefully this time and found that each of them had this chakra head. As long as they came into contact with other people who were once said to have returned, those people would be turned into puppets again. What a vicious ninjutsu. Now, Kusuo Hitaki finally knew why Chiyo sealed up such a ninjutsu. Once such a ninjutsu was spread to the world, what a big uproar it would cause. Kusuo Hitaki didn't want to get entangled with these people at this moment. With a flash, Kusuo Hitaki also chased in the direction of Shari and the others. But when Kusuo Hitaki followed them to Shing, he found that they had been controlled by someone. What's wrong with you? Kusuo Hitaki turned his head and looked at everyone. Their eyes were very dull at the moment. But when Kusuo Hitaki closed his eyes, he found that their bodies were not controlled by anyone. Kusuo Hitaki pushed open the door of the room where they usually practiced, and found that Xing was no longer there. The star shadow next to Xing before was also gone. Shari. Kusuo Hitaki tried to call Shari's name, but Shari and the others did not respond at all. Boom. There was a violent riot outside their location. Kusuo Hitaki reacted immediately. The Xing ninja village has a very powerful fire crossbow unit. Every time they fought, they would tie their baggage to the front end of the arrow and then fire it. The damage caused was terrible. Chapter 233. Shari. Hitaki Kusuo appeared behind Shari and stretched out a knife to cut Shari's back. Shari finally reacted and fell to the ground. What happened just now? When Shari heard that the person behind him was Hitaki Kusuo, he immediately turned around and saw Hitaki Kusuo. Leave this place quickly. There is something strange in this place. At this point, Shari didn't care about other things. Being able to leave this place alive is Shari's biggest hope at the moment. Now outside is the main force of our Star Ninja Village, and they have been controlled by the other side. Very strong. Because weapons like Huowu can be easily controlled by anyone. Once the baggage is added, not only the attack speed is very fast, but also the damage is very strong. If someone uses weapons, there must be a lot of people on the opposite side. It will be bad if we fall into his trap. Although Taozi and his group did not find Xingying. However, they can now determine that all the puppets are dispersed from a hub behind Xingying. Shari, do you still plan to resist now? Hearing Xingying's voice, Shari and the ninjas beside her had no intention of giving up. We will never give up unless you hand over the star. Xingying smiled at the sky and shouted, how dare you? Come here. At Xingying's command, the people standing outside the house rushed up immediately. Today I will let you see how powerful the people who have practiced the star in our Xing ninja village are. A group of puppets immediately surrounded Shari and his group. At this moment, Kusuo Hitaki was naturally surrounded by several people. Lord Kusuo, you. Shari looked at Kusuo Hitaki with a look of help. At this point, the only person who can help the Star Ninja Village is this Hitaki Kusuo in front of them. Only then did Xingying realize that there was someone standing next to Shari. Hitaki Kusuo. Who are you? When did you enter the village? Xingying can know the whereabouts of all puppet soldiers. But no one informed him that outsiders had entered the village. It turned out to be you. You actually protected your grandson's traitor and came to our village. Xingying pointed at Shari and was so angry that even his hands began to shake. But Hitaki Kusuo could clearly feel that the reason why his body was shaking was because there were too many puppets controlled by his body. If you continue to operate so many puppets, you will probably die here. Even after hearing Hitaki Kusuo's dissuasion, Xingying had no intention of giving up. Since Xingying got this power, his other perception abilities have also been enhanced a lot. And Xingying is the one who has practiced the most Ten Tails chakra power. If it were someone else, Xingying could feel the strength of the other person's body. But today, when he met Hitaki Kusuo, Xingying did not feel the flow of chakra on Hitaki Kusuo's body. However, there was a strong sense of oppression from Kusuo Hitaki. That sense of oppression was always reminding Xingying that if he dared to make a move, he would surely die. But at this moment, Xingying was already fearless. Xingying quickly formed a seal and rushed to Kusuo Hitaki. Several Star Ninja puppets also quickly stood up and attacked Kusuo Hitaki at the same time. Zero, please give me flowers. But Kusuo Hitaki was not in a hurry, just staring at the figures of several people. I really didn't notice where you brought a reinforcement. Xingying's words were full of teasing. But when Xingying saw Kusuo Hitaki's face clearly, he was shocked. Why is it you? At the same time, the bodies of several people who had just rushed over immediately retreated. Although Shari didn't know the true identity of Kusuo Hitaki, Xingying was different. Xingying is the shadow of the Star Ninja Village. He has some private connections with other villages. Naturally, he has heard of the name of Hitaki Kusuo. For a moment, Xingying's pupils shrank, but his will to fight became stronger. Xingying stretched out his hand and cut a wound on his hand with a shuriken. Blood continued to flow from the wound and dripped on the star. The originally dim star suddenly emitted a purple light. Seeing this reaction, Xingying raised a smile at the corner of his mouth. If it weren't for the appearance of Hitaki Kusuo, Xingying would not dare to take such a risk. This is the power that the star can bring me, a power that you don't understand at all. Hitaki Kusuo slowly pulled out the knife and looked at Xingying with cold eyes. Now is your last chance, you should tell the truth about the problems of the villagers. Who taught you such an evil ninjutsu? Xingying just sneered a few times and didn't mean to explain. You will never understand this kind of thing. This is all for the good of the Star Village. Hitaki Kusuo did not mean to give up. Chapter 234. I'll give you one last chance. Hurry up and get rid of the number of people on these people. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Xingying naturally knew that Hitaki Kusuo was extremely powerful. Even the tailed beasts of other villages had to bow down. If they didn't use the power of the star to fight against such a person, they would have no chance of winning. Come on. Give me power. What Hitaki Kusuo didn't expect was that a part of the star actually fell off, and then gradually condensed to the heart of Xingying. Xingying's body suddenly burst out with a purple power. After fusing with the star, it actually has such a strong chakra. Shari couldn't help but sigh. Only Hitaki Kusuo knew that the power of this thing came from the 10 tails. Now I'm afraid that Xingying's body is bearing the chakra of the 10 tails. It shouldn't be that easy to deal with him in a short time. Roar. Xingying roared at Kusuo Hitaki. Purple chakra also appeared on the bodies of several puppets beside him. Originally, the chakra threads that Kusuo Hitaki could only find through the transparent world could now be easily found with the naked eye. It looks like we're in trouble this time. Shari tightly grasped the shuriken in her hand. Kusuo Hitaki, you'd better find another way out. Leave this to us. After all, the affairs of our star ninja village have nothing to do with you. At this point, Shari has already seen that this matter is not so easy to solve. Shari doesn't want to drag Kusuo Hitaki into the water. But Kusuo Hitaki has no intention of leaving. Didn't we already negotiate the terms before? Are you going to regret it? Shari was stunned at first, and then her eyes were full of gratitude. She knew what Kusuo Hitaki meant. Even so, I, Shari, would like to thank Master Kusuo Hitaki for saving my life. I hope you can save our star ninja village in Shuiwo. After saying that, Shari quickly formed seals with both hands. The people who were traveling with Shari also used the peacock magic in succession. You guys, follow me and rush up to fight him. At this point, Shari no longer cares about those things. Overthrowing the rule of Xingying is a must, and Shari must protect the other villagers. But the power of the other puppets has also increased a lot at this moment. Peacock magic. Peacock magic. The puppets controlled by Xingying also used the same ninjutsu. I'll go first. After saying this, Hitaki Kusuo disappeared from the spot. Yellow-toothed kid, you want to fight me with your 2 tricks. Xingying looked at Hitaki Kusuo with disdain, and the seals in his hands were quickly formed. A shield made of chakra appeared in front of Xingying in an instant. But Hitaki Kusuo did not react at all. Just snorted coldly, and slashed forward with a knife in an instant. It proves that Xingying's strength is not as weak as the last time he met Xingying. Especially under the amplification of star, its power is surprisingly strong. Looking for death. Xingying made a series of finger gestures, and several huge spikes made of chakra stabbed towards Kusuo Hitaki's chest. Kusuo Hitaki was not nervous. He waved the short knife in his hand forward and the spikes made of chakra disappeared instantly. Kusuo Hitaki did not summon all his strength in a short time. This Xingying has now merged, and Kusuo Hitaki also wants to feel how much power this star can bring to a person. 0. Peacock magic. Cut. Xingying gave an order, and a chakra blade as sharp as a knife fell from the sky. Kusuo Hitaki picked up the knife and went to meet the chakra blade. With a ping sound, the chakra blade turned into nothingness. And Kusuo Hitaki's figure did not change at all. It seems that your tricks are not very good. Seeing this, Xingying's face suddenly became a little ugly. You are looking for death, so don't blame me. After saying that, a huge flying bird descended from the sky and attacked Kusuo Hitaki. This big bird is Xingying, which can summon the strongest summoned beast. Unlike ordinary summoned beasts, this summoned beast is derived from the star. Although it is not quite the same as other summoned beasts, it at least contains the power of the 10 tails. It would be great if Uchiha Obito was here, so this purity would be just right for him. Kusuo Hitaki sneered and continued to fight with Xingying with the blade in his hand. The summoned beast immediately stretched out a claw and slapped Kusuo Hitaki's blade. Kusuo Hitaki did not intend to dodge, but took the blade in his hand to meet it. Boom! After a loud bang, Kusuo Hitaki's 2 feet were smashed deeply into the ground. It seems that I really underestimated you. Hitaki Kusuo originally thought that the strength of this summoned beast was not much different from that of ordinary summoned beasts. But Xingying, who was standing by, saw this and his face changed drastically. Hitaki Kusuo's strength was far beyond what Xingying could deal with. Chapter 235. And the other people were all watching a battle here. The puppet soldiers who rushed towards Hitaki Kusuo were wiped out by Hitaki Kusuo in just a few moves. Hitaki Kusuo just hit the acupuncture points on their bodies and made them faint. With the experience of the last time, Hitaki Kusuo knew in his heart that even if the chakra lines on these people were cleared, they would return to their current state in a short while. In comparison, it would be better to knock them out first, so that they would not be able to participate in the battle. The summoned beast rushed towards Hitaki Kusuo again. Don't think you can fight with me with your mediocre skills. I am the Star Shadow of the Star Ninja Village. Although Star Shadow has discovered that Hitaki Kusuo is strong, he is unwilling to admit defeat. This time, the summoned beast rushed over with an extremely strong temperament, and even many tree trunks in the air were directly beaten into sawdust. And the sound of explosions has been heard from the forest. Hitaki Kusuo's face changed instantly. It looks like they are going to run away. Hitaki Kusuo reminded Shari in his ear. Don't worry, Master Kusuo, they can't run away. Shari turned around and gestured to the few people. The few people immediately understood and blocked all the exits around the courtyard. Don't worry, you can't run away from here. After hearing this, the monkey was relieved. I have arranged people to guard this place. You just need to take off the star on his body. Hitaki Kusuo knew in his heart that as long as he could take off the star, the strength of Xingying's body would naturally be reduced a lot. And the strength of the puppet soldiers around him would also end here. You can actually use your villagers to do such experiments. Just as Hitaki Kusuo was about to take action, several people immediately used their chakra to condense weapons to attack Xingying. You don't know how to use the power given to you by the star. After Xingying finished speaking, he immediately used the chakra he condensed to turn into a shield in front of Hitaki Kusuo. You can't stop me now. Hitaki Kusuo immediately took the blade in his hand and chopped at the shield in front of him. But this time is different from the last time. Even two could clearly feel his chakra being drawn out along the blade. Seeing this, Kusuo Hitaki quickly pulled out his short sword and pushed forward a few steps. I really didn't expect this guy to be able to absorb other people's chakra. Kusuo Hitaki's words immediately woke up several people around him. We have discovered before that the star will absorb other people's chakra instead of contributing to the outside under special circumstances, but these chakras will be transformed into the power of the star. Kusuo Hitaki was a little shocked by this. Compared with such a person, it is estimated that no one would dare to act easily. When Kusuo Hitaki's chakra was absorbed, Kusuo Hitaki immediately found a new angle to attack. This star can only absorb chakra, and it seems that there are not many other functions. After hearing this, Shari and others finally felt relieved. Although they had obtained power from this star before. Hitaki Kusuo, you must be careful not to come into contact with his chakra. It seems that the star in his body has mutated. After Shari's reminder, Hitaki Kusuo's attack could not help but retreat a few steps. Although with your strength, if you want to chop hard, it is a piece of cake for him. If the opponent keeps performing such ninjutsu, there is no chance to get close at all. Especially with the blessing of the star, the chakra that Xingying now has is enough for Xingying to squander his whole life. Hitaki Kusuo once again waved the short knife in his hand and rushed towards Xingying. Under the eyes of countless people, a short knife fiercely met Xingying's body. What no one expected was that this time Hitaki Kusuo's blade went straight through these barriers. Everyone stared at the place where the two fought. The result was indeed somewhat unsatisfactory. And the barrier where Xingying condensed shattered with a sound. Instantly Xingying looked at Hitaki Kusuo with a dead look on his face. The chakra barrier, which was originally extremely powerful, was destroyed by a simple sword from Hitaki Kusuo. And this time, the blade did not even have its chakra extracted. Shari and others had admired Hitaki Kusuo's strength before. After this scene, they trusted Hitaki Kusuo even more. You should retreat quickly. Shari shouted at Hitaki Kusuo. At this moment, Xingying no longer had to fight. No one could even imagine it. Hitaki Kusuo actually chopped the shield condensed by the star with just a casual sword. Chapter 236. How could this happen? Hitaki Kusuo was not in a hurry to kill people directly. After all, Hitaki Kusuo wanted to find out the information that he had not yet learned from him. Ninjutsu like peacock magic must be obtained from the Star Ninja Village. Although there is no green star, Kusuo Hitaki believes that with their strength, it won't take long to revitalize the village. Xingying looked at Kusuo Hitaki in disbelief. I can't believe that someone like you dares to take the star from me. Xingying clenched his right hand into a fist and looked down at the star on his chest. For so long, Kusuo Hitaki is not the first person who wants to take the star. It's just that all the others who came were killed by Xingying. I don't believe you can deal with so many people with your own strength. Kusuo Hitaki secretly looked back and saw that Shari and others were fighting with a group of soldiers. The puppet soldiers are stronger than Shari and others to a certain extent. It seems that we can only fight to the death. Shari and others clenched the shuriken in their hands. Peacock magic. Ultimate magic. Peacock power. Shari's body was instantly covered by chakra. But even so, the two of them were not afraid of Xingying in front of them. The star, inserted in Xingying's heart was now emitting a strange light. The enhanced peacock magic was immediately used. Before this, even if everyone joined forces, Hitaki Kusuo had never seen such a powerful peacock magic. But such a number of people were now being used by Xingying alone. Hitaki Kusuo finally understood why Shari was so opposed to practicing star. Through the coordination of the world, Hitaki Kusuo could find that the flow of chakra in Xingying's body had gone wild. Many meridians had begun to break. Such a magical Hitaki Kusuo had only seen Kai who had opened the 8 gates. At the same time as the power, the puppets that were previously controlled also began to burst out the chakra in their bodies. A group of people, with the cooperation of Xingying, began to attack Shari and others. Shari immediately used ninjutsu to defend. But under the attack of so many people and animals, Shari's peacock magic seemed insignificant. Hitaki Kusuo gently pulled out the soy sauce and instantly appeared around. Breath of the sun diaresis. Countless blades chopped out. On average, thousands of cuts could be made per second. A blade formed a defensive wall appeared around the few people. At this moment, Shari finally understood why Kusuo Hitaki had a fearless expression before. It turned out that with Kusuo Hitaki's strong cultivation, he didn't have to worry about meeting Xingying. Master Kusuo Hitaki. Shari was shocked to see Kusuo Hitaki. With such strength, even the shadows of the 5 ninja villages combined may not be his opponent. Shari swallowed quietly. However, the Xingying in front of Kusuo Hitaki was different. Xingying was sweating coldly at this moment. After practicing the puppet techniques taught to him by Orochimaru, Xingying had never felt so scared. It was the star in Xingying's heart that had been supporting her body with chakra, but such a strong strength was cut off by a knife in front of Kusuo Hitaki. How could there be such a terrible person? This was the first time Xingying was afraid, especially after practicing the power of the star. Xingying has never been afraid of anyone, but the current Hitaki Kusuo is different. Everything that Xingying has always relied on was cut off by Hitaki Kusuo with one sword. And the chakras that connect Xingying and other people have also been cut off. Although Xingying once tried to connect with them again. But the chakras of Xingying could not keep up with the speed of Hitaki Kusuo's blade. Cut it off with one sword. At this moment, the puppets that had been controlled before have completely returned to normal. Shari also looked at Hitaki Kusuo with a dumbfounded look. Originally, Xingying was doomed to fail after implanting the star into his body, but now it has been completely reversed. No, not yet. Looking at Hitaki Kusuo again, Hitaki Kusuo looked at Xingying with a serious face. Sure enough, a strong purple burst out from Xingying's chest. Xingying stretched out his hand and grabbed another handful of the star. A larger piece of star fell down. Xingying gritted his teeth and implanted another larger star into his body. Boom! A strong chakra wave burst out. Xingying's body was burning with purple-black chakra. Is this the power of the 10 tails? Hitaki Kusuo looked at Xingying in shock. But Hitaki Kusuo knew very well what the consequences of using this power would be. Even ordinary people couldn't bear such a strong chakra. But at this moment, the shoes dared to perform such a strong ninjutsu. But at this moment, those places that had been injured by Hitaki Kusuo were recovering at a speed that could be seen by the naked eye. Chapter 237. Everyone be careful, the chakra in his body is going to run wild. Sure enough, after Hitaki Kusuo's flowers and leaves fell, countless purple-black lights burst out from Xingying's chest. The light of chakra instantly enveloped the entire Xingnan village. Under the control of Xingying, chakra began to gradually condense into a purple-black dragon. Even the dragon scales began to show slightly. This kind of chakra has never been seen in the original work. Even Hitaki Kusuo has some experience. The dragon floating in the air looks different from other tailed beasts. But the combat power contained in it is indeed comparable to that of the tailed beasts. Hitaki Kusuo quickly moved forward with a few blades and instantly pierced Xingying's chest. At a speed visible to Hitaki Kusuo, Xingying's fatal injury quickly recovered. Star can restore the body, but using this method will have serious side effects. Shari on the side reminded. Hitaki Kusuo narrowed his eyes slightly. When the chakra irradiated the entire Xingnan village, the eyes of those ninjas who had previously recovered their normal consciousness began to blur again. It seems that this guy will not be killed for a while. Hitaki Kusuo began to realize that the Xingying in front of him was a bit tricky. Huh. Hitaki Kusuo suddenly found that Xingying's body shook slightly. It seems that you can't bear it anymore. Several Xingnan broke through the defense of Shari and others and rushed into the yard. Shoot! Several fire crossbows were shot at Hitaki Kusuo. Be careful! Hearing Shari's shouting, Hitaki Kusuo quickly turned around and cut off all the arrows. There is no point in attacking with this kind of strength. At this moment, Hitaki Kusuo was also a little angry. Although this Xingying was not very strong. But it was also very tricky and a bit troublesome. The reason why Hitaki Kusuo didn't kill him was to find out where the ninjutsu on Xingying came from. It seems that I really underestimated you before. Xingying saw that the swordsmanship displayed by Hitaki Kusuo at this moment was no longer as simple as before. Each knife can easily cut a puppet. Are you provoking me? Xingying frowned slightly. Xingying waved his hand, and Shari and others were immediately choked by the throat. Hitaki Kusuo, you should leave quickly. He is now immortal. Immortal. Hitaki Kusuo curled his lips, but the blade in his hand slashed towards Shari and others without stopping. Xingying laughed wantonly, and pinched his fingers to make a decision. The giant dragon in the air immediately fried Kusuo Hitaki, and a chakra ball popped out. Seeing the chakra ball being spit out, Kusuo Hitaki's eyes tightened slightly. This is the tailed beast cannon. Kusuo Hitaki knew that this star was formed by the power contained in Shiwei's body. Kusuo Hitaki never thought that the summoned beast condensed by the chakra of the 10 tails could also use the tailed beast cannon. Sun breathing. The 13th style. After the test, Kusuo Hitaki immediately picked up the blade in his hand and swung it at the giant dragon in the air. Seeing this, Xingying showed a trace of contempt in the corner of his eyes, but the next second, the whole sky burst out with an extremely powerful collision. The giant dragon summoned by Xingying let out a roar that resounded through the sky at this moment. The dragon's claws grabbed forward fiercely, trying to stop the blade swung by Kusuo Hitaki. But the dragon's speed was still not as fast as Kusuo Hitaki's. A very strong sword energy rushed up from the ground to the sky. The giant dragon in the sky was cut into 2 pieces with one sword. When the giant dragon transformed by chakra was cut off, a mouthful of blood spurted out of Xingying's mouth. It seems that his body has begun to suffer backlash. Shari saw this and said coldly. Shari also practiced the ninjutsu of star, so he naturally knew how powerful the side effects of star were. Hitaki Kusuo also had memories of the power of star. In the original work, many people suffered backlash from star because they relied on the power of fish food. But Hitaki Kusuo had never seen anyone perform such a powerful ninjutsu at that time. The more constants you absorb, the more serious the backlash on your body. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Taozi and others looked very complicated. Although they knew it very well in their hearts, in order to defeat Xingying, they must also use the power of star. It's better to use less of the power of star in the future. As star will be taken away by me, the chakra in your body will gradually disappear. If you want to continue to be a ninja, you must practice with another number of people. Shari's eyes were still very complicated. After today's battle, the power contained in the star ninja village has been consumed a lot. You don't have to worry about it. This thing contains chakra after all. Sooner or later, it will be used up. While the few people were talking, Xingying wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. The chakra contained in his body was stronger than the power contained last time. And the puppets controlled in the village have quickly surrounded the yard. Hitaki Kusuo flashed and rushed to the side of the few people. Those who had been controlled had returned to normal at this moment. You dare to destroy my puppet. At this point, Xingying finally couldn't bear it anymore and told the truth. But the other ninjas heard this. Master Xingying, how could you do this to me? The villagers who had come to their senses immediately ran in the opposite direction. But the chakra of Xing has covered the entire Xingnan village. It seems that I still need to help you. Hitaki Kusuo finished speaking, and he flashed behind Xingying. Sun breathing, 5th style, train. A huge flame appeared behind Xingying, and Xingying's body was blasted high from the air to the ground. And the body of the summoned beast in the air began to gradually disappear. No longer has any aggressiveness. You, mortal, you will regret it in the end. After hearing Xingying's words, Duoduo's mouth was boiling. I'm afraid that in this world, the only one who can be called a god is Nagato. Even in the original book, the previous Xingying did not show any heaven and earth. So Hitaki Kusuo was not afraid of his strength at all. It's just a counterattack before death. Hitaki Kusuo did not relax. Chapter 238. At this moment, the chakra on Xingying's body has fully bloomed. A very large peacock surrounds Xingying's body. It seems that he has tried his best. Shari, who was standing by, also became cautious and immediately used his own peacock magic. But Hitaki Kusuo was not in a hurry, because Hitaki Kusuo still wanted to get a more complete piece of star. Xingying had already taken off a large part of the star, and moved it to the location found by the Demon Slayer core. And the star next to him was also grabbed by Xingying in 2 large pieces. We must not let him damage this star again. Hitaki Kusuo sighed in his heart. As soon as the voice fell, Hitaki Kusuo's body disappeared instantly. Hitaki Kusuo stared at the star. This is the part left by the 10 tails. The power contained in it is not something that ordinary people can cultivate. Hitaki Kusuo planned to get this star first, then extract the chakra contained in it and give it to Uchiha Obito. As for the remaining part, he could make a new short sword for himself. Breath of the Sun. Hitaki Kusuo raised his hand, and in a few minutes, tens of thousands of swords slashed towards Xingying's body. A barrier formed by the blade appeared in front of Xingying. Xingying double putting his hands together, he immediately used the chakra in his body to condense a chakra wall. Don't think about conquering my. But before Xingying finished speaking, the blades forcibly broke all the protective shields condensed by Xingying. At this moment, Kusuo Hitaki didn't want to waste any more time. After breaking through the first barrier, the remaining blades all rushed towards Xingying's body. In an instant, Xingying's body was exposed to the blades. Although Xingying's body can recover quickly in a short time with the help of star. Under such a fast attack, Xingying's recovery speed is not as fast as Kusuo Hitaki's attack speed. But Xingying still didn't want to give up, and quickly formed seals with both hands. Peacock Magic, Defense. A huge peacock appeared in front of Xingying and blocked all of Kusuo Hitaki's attacks. Death Struggle. Suo Hitaki narrowed his eyes, quickly drew out the short knife in his hand, and slashed at Xingying's neck. Puff. A mouthful of blood spurted out of Xingying's mouth, and his body softened suddenly. At this moment, Xingying could no longer use chakra to reshape his body, because Hitaki Kusuo's attack speed was too fast, and Hitaki Kusuo's blade was stuck in the same place every time. Since you can't die, then you will die of suffocation. Hitaki Kusuo's eyes were fixed on Xingying. Although Xingying tried to fight back this time, his body had no way to respond. Not only Xingying's neck, but all of Xingying's meridians were cut by Hitaki Kusuo at the same time. All the attacks instantly fell on Xingying's body. Xingying looked at Hitaki Kusuo and shouted in exasperation. But when Xingying opened his mouth, he found that he couldn't make any sound at all. And Xingying had been trying to resist Hitaki Kusuo's attacks, but failed every time. Before this, the peacock magic and other ninjutsu to restore the body could not be performed. But Kusuo Hitaki did not leave any chance for Xingying. Zero, please give flowers. Whenever Xingying raised his hand, Kusuo Hitaki would immediately chop his blade. Under such a rapid attack by Kusuo Hitaki, Xingying did not even have time to seal. And the peacock that Xingying had glowed before had begun to fade. Asshole. Xingying had found that his chakra could not keep up with the speed of recovery. Aren't you very confident? I wonder how many more swords you can withstand. Kusuo Hitaki retreated immediately, and Ru looked at Xingying in front of him with interest. Not to mention Xingying, even other people could not withstand so many swords in such a short time. It is not easy for you to hold on until now with the star in your hand. It is because of Kusuo Hitaki's action that the other puppets in the village can no longer be controlled by Xingying. Take a look at them yourself. After Kusuo Hitaki finished speaking, Xingying looked back at the other people in the village. The villagers who used to live in the Star Ninja village looked at Xingying with resentment. I really didn't expect you to be such a person. Listening to the words of the villagers, Xingying didn't have any worries on his face. Xingying's eyes quickly swept around all the villagers. Now Xingying has no fighting spirit in his heart, and he only has one thought, that is to leave. But Xingying rarely leaves this Star Ninja village, and he doesn't know where he should go once he really leaves the Star Ninja village. The Land of Fire. Yes, the Land of Fire. Xingying was secretly happy in his heart. Chapter 239. As long as they can find the Land of Fire, they will definitely send troops to attack Kusuo Hitaki. However, Xingying had no idea about the relationship between Kusuo Hitaki and the Land of Fire. Seeing that Xingying was about to run away, Shari and others immediately picked up the shuriken in their hands and chased in the direction of Xingying's escape. At this moment, Kusuo Hitaki had already put his sword back. although those villagers looked at Xingying with resentment. But with Xingying's strength, it would be easy for him to escape from them. Peacock magic. Fly. As soon as Xingying finished speaking, his body rushed forward. Although some villagers immediately performed ninjutsu and began to defend. But even if the whole village attacked at the same time, they still couldn't stop Xingying. With the implantation of the star, the power that Xingying exerted at this moment could not be stopped by anyone except Kusuo Hatake. But even so, when Xingying escaped, some ninjas still chose to run away with Xingying. Hatake Kusuo was not surprised by this. After all, Xingying's identity was also considered a Xingying in the Xingxi village. It is normal to brainwash some people at ordinary times. Hurry up and chase them. At Sha Ri's command, several ninjas immediately chased in the direction they fled. But Hatake Kusuo stood in place and did not run forward. Hatake Kusuo quickly drew his sword, and a powerful blade flew forward. Soon, screams of Xingying and others came from the front. A few whooshing sounds. The few people who were just sent out by Sha Ri returned to Sha Ri's side again. Report to Lord Sha Ri, several guards of Xingying are dead. And Xingying is now unknown. Hatake Kusuo deliberately left a backhand when he took action just now. After those few people passed, it is estimated that Xingying is now seriously injured and is hiding somewhere to recover from his injuries. However, with the speed of several people, it is obvious that they can't catch up with Xingying. It's getting late, let the villagers go back and rest. Sha Ri only then realized that there are still many villagers standing on the road in Xing Ninja Village. Everyone, the previous ninjutsu has been completely lifted now, and everyone can go home without worry. Although hearing Sha Ri say this, the villagers still have some concerns in their hearts. After all, the puppet technique used before was too strong. That kind of strength is something everyone has never seen before. But just as everyone turned around, Kusuo Hatake suddenly swung his sword towards an empty space. Instantly, the air in the whole village was rippled by this set of cuts. It was actually possible to directly cut the space into turbulence with this sword. Sha Ri looked at Kusuo Hatake in shock. However, what surprised Sha Ri even more was that a familiar body fell from the sky again. It fell in front of everyone with a plop. Sha Ri immediately led people to check, and only then did he find that the person who fell was Xingying who had escaped. How could this happen? Sha Ri looked at Xingying, and at this moment, the stone on Xingying's chest had completely separated from the body. Only a bloody wound remained. And the star, combined with the distant one, had also disappeared. This scene made Kusuo Hatake feel a little distressed. Thank you very much for helping the Star Ninja Village. Sha Ri knew in her heart that if it weren't for Kusuo Hatake, this battle would probably take a lot of time. She and her friends might even die at the hands of Xingying. Don't be polite to me. After Kusuo Hatake finished speaking, he immediately looked at Xingying. At this moment, Xingying only had his last breath left. The real way of ninja is to fully develop the power of star. Before dying, Xingying tried his best to say this. Always practicing star will make this village more and more decadent. The real way to awaken the village is to practice ninjutsu and let everyone receive other ninjutsu. After Sha Ri finished speaking, she immediately put the shuriken on Xingying's neck. Xingying, like you'd better die. Sha Ri wiped Xingying's neck with force. Without the power of star, Xingying now has no ability to recover. A seemingly ordinary knife directly ended Xingying's life completely. As soon as he saw Xingying dead, Kusuo Hatake immediately looked up at Sha Ri. Now I have helped you, don't forget the promise we made to each other. Sha Ri smiled lightly and pointed at the Xing, not far away. This thing is handed over to you. Kusuo Hatake glanced at Xingying who was lying on the ground. A scroll fell out of Xingying's arms. The 10 Kinmatsu. Forbidden, perfect puppet ninjutsu development. Just by looking at the names of the two scrolls, Kusuo Hatake knew that this must be the work of Orochimaru. It seems that this place is not peaceful anymore, you should take everyone and hide quickly. Sha Ri also knew that there must be someone behind Xingying who instigated him to do this. Chapter 240. But at this time, Shari had no ability to rescue the person who instigated Xingying behind the scenes. I won't leave. Our star ninja village has been here for generations, I won't leave. Shari said this because she had nowhere to go. I can't abandon the entire star ninja village. After hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo's mouth curled slightly. Shari's choice made Hitaki Kusuo very satisfied. When a true leader encounters something, he should not abandon other people in the village to escape alone. Yes, if you are willing, I can consider showing you a way out. Shari's face was slightly surprised when he heard it. What do you mean by this? Hitaki Kusuo did not answer, but put away his weapon and walked towards Xingying's body. At this moment, Xingying's body contains the last trace of the power of the star. Xingying is also the 06th person who dares to integrate the star into himself. Hitaki Kusuo, can you tell me what your real identity is? At this point, Shari is more and more curious about Hitaki Kusuo's identity. According to Shari's understanding of Hitaki Kusuo's strength, a person as powerful as Hitaki Kusuo would definitely be the ceiling in any village. Hitaki Kusuo. The strongest of the 5 great countries, Hitaki Kusuo. Hitaki Kusuo said it word by word. But when Hitaki Kusuo finished speaking, Shari's face was full of shock. The strong men of the 5 great countries actually committed themselves to this place today and even rescued her. What an honor it is. It seems that when I really underestimated you at that time. I thought you were just a young boy who came to this star ninja village. It should be said that Shari admitted that Hitaki Kusuo was indeed very handsome. But Hitaki Kusuo did not look like a very strong person. This was partly because Shari did not feel Hitaki Kusuo's strength. The other part was because Hitaki Kusuo was deliberately suppressing his strength and did not want to be discovered by others. At this time, Hitaki Kusuo was really anxious. Orochimaru is now conducting such live experiments. Maybe he will choose to perform the impure world reincarnation at any time. It would be troublesome to resurrect a few ninjas at that time. Although Hitaki Kusuo knew in his heart that the war was inevitable. But those people were basically not Hitaki Kusuo's opponents. Hitaki Kusuo was now just waiting for Uchiha Madara to be resurrected. If Uchiha Madara did not appear, the resurrection of others would have no meaning to Hitaki Kusuo. I took the things away. If you need the help of the land of fire, just mention my name. After the words fell, Kusuo Hitaki immediately walked to the side of the star, stretched out his hand and took out all the stars. But what surprised Kusuo Hitaki was that the star immediately broke into pieces the moment it was taken out. Only the last purple crystal the size of a watermelon remained in the palm of Kusuo Hitaki's hand. There was still a part of chakra flowing in the crystal of the star. Kusuo Hitaki simply waved a few times, and the chakra did not play any role. It seems that it is still necessary to make it into a ninja sword. As for the chakra in it, it is better to give it to Uchiha Obito. What did you just say? Shari asked. Kusuo Hitaki hurriedly shook his head, indicating that he did not speak. Seeing this, Shari did not ask more questions. Please prepare a room for me. I will stay here today. After hearing this, Shari quickly made arrangements. Not only because Kusuo Hitaki is the strongest of the 5 great nations, but also because Kusuo Hitaki is the savior of the Star Ninja Village. Kusuo Hitaki came to the house and picked up the purple star. Kusuo Hitaki stretched out his hand and placed it on the star, carefully feeling the chakra contained in the star. This chakra is different from the 9 tails chakra in Naruto's body. Although the amount of chakra energy is not much, the concentration contained in it is very high. Kusuo Hitaki quickly made a seal and called Kuroko over. After about an hour, Kuroko finally came to Kusuo Hitaki's door. Mr. Kusuo. Did you bring the things I asked you to bring? Kuroko took out a bottle from his arms. He pointed the bottle mouth at the star, and the purple chakra contained in the star was immediately drawn out. Master Kusuo, this is. Kuroko just opened his mouth and immediately closed it again. I'm sorry, Master Kusuo, I'm too nosy. Kuroko knew that he shouldn't ask about things that had nothing to do with him. This seemingly small bottle could actually store a lot of chakra. And after nearly 2 hours, the chakra contained in the star was finally drawn out. That's enough. There's nothing for you to do here. You go first. Also, take this thing back first. Hitaki Kusuo immediately arranged Kuroko to take the chakra away first. Chapter 241. This kind of thing must be given to Uchiha Obito. If Uchiha Obito does not have this kind of thing to help him, who knows when he will be able to grow to the level that Hitaki Kusuo needs. After Kuroko left, Hitaki Kusuo looked at the stone that had no color. This hardness is really good, and it can contain chakra. It is perfect for making weapons. It was not until the second half of the night that Shari walked to the door of Hitaki Kusuo and knocked gently on the door. Mr. Kusuo, it's me, Shari. Shari said softly. After a long while, there was still no sound in the room. Shari sighed lightly, and just as he was about to turn around, the voice of Hitaki Kusuo suddenly came from the room. Come in. Shari hesitated for a long time, and finally pushed the door open and walked in. Master Hitaki Kusuo, I came here to discuss a condition with you. Hitaki Kusuo sat in meditation and did not speak. I am willing to hand over the peacock magic in my hand. This can also be regarded as a token of my heart. Can you help me beg for mercy in front of the fire country? Hitaki Kusuo then slightly opened his eyes. Just based on a peacock magic, I am still unwilling to open my mouth. I have no interest in a peacock magic at all. Hitaki Kusuo said this in order to get better treatment. The peacock magical technique alone is nothing to Hitaki Kusuo. At this time, Hitaki Kusuo's strength no longer needs such a training method. But if such a number of people can be handed over to the land of fire or to his own demon slayer corps, then their ability will be improved by a qualitative leap. If you are willing, I can voluntarily follow you, or be your exclusive guard. No matter when you have any request, I will obey your orders. After hearing this, Kusuo Hitaki finally smiled slightly. With only one peacock magic, even if it was given to Kusuo Hitaki might not be able to successfully convey it to others. Especially when they were practicing the peacock magic before, they were all helped by the star. Once they were separated from the star, they would definitely need an experienced ninja from the Star Ninja Village to help. But Kusuo Hitaki had already done everything here, so naturally no ninja from the Star Ninja Village would be willing to help. So Kusuo Hitaki waited here for half a night, just to wait for Shari to show up. Won't you regret it yourself? Kusuo Hitaki looked at Shari in a mysterious way. Shari saw that Kusuo Hitaki might agree, and nodded immediately. Don't worry, no problem, as long as you agree, I am willing to follow you. Then go out. Shari was stunned at first, and then nodded quickly. Okay, Kusuo Hitaki's egg, and I'll leave now. After the words fell, Shari immediately turned around and walked out of the house. Kusuo Hitaki looked at Shari's back and smiled gently. At this moment, the ninjas of the Star Ninja Village did not realize that it would not take long for them to completely lose their ninjutsu. Naturally, Shari in front of him was no exception. Without the supply of stars, the chakra in their bodies would be exhausted in a short time. Shari has been able to perform the peacock magic to the fullest. As long as the chakra in his body is replaced, he will definitely exert stronger strength. At that time, it is estimated that the Star Ninja Village will also obey Kusuo Hitaki. Having such a village as a background behind him is also a good choice for Kusuo Hitaki. Although the current strength of the Star Ninja Village is not as strong as that of the Fire Country. But a large part of the reason is that the stars will bring side effects to their bodies. If they can get rid of this side effect, Kusuo Hitaki believes that their strength may even be above the Uchiha clan. The chakra materialization of the peacock magic is a very heaven-defying existence for any race. Even if they encounter the Byakugan, they can use chakra to transform into a shield for protection. Hitaki Kusuo is very satisfied to get such a ninja village. Especially for a long time, the Star Ninja Village refused to have good money exchanges with any other village. So Kusuo Hitaki does not need to worry about being planted here. Kusuo Hitaki didn't have anything else to do, so he stayed in the village for a while. Kusuo Hitaki stayed in the Star Ninja village mainly to find more clues about Orochimaru staying here. Although Tokushiro has solved the Star Shadow, there are still some chakra lines on these villagers. Kusuo Hitaki also wants to completely remove the chakra lines on them. Does anyone here know how to make ninja swords? Shari immediately knew what Kusuo Hitaki was thinking, and quickly arranged for his master who usually made ninja tools to come over. Chapter 242. The person in front of you is Kusuo Hitaki. It was he who helped our Star Ninja village escape this crisis. The old man quickly took the purple crystal from Kusuo Hitaki. Just make this thing into a dagger. After saying this, Kusuo Hitaki directly handed the crystal in his hand to the old man opposite. If it is made into a short sword, it will conflict with the short sword Kusuo Hitaki is using now. And if it is made into a dagger, it can also kill people invisibly. Yes, Lord Kusuo. Shari took the star and lowered his head to leave the house. Watching Shari leave, Kusuo Hitaki turned his head and looked at the corner of the house. Come out. Yes, Lord Kusuo. Ibiki Mori walked out of the shadows slowly and bowed to Kusuo Hitaki. After the investigation of the Demon Slayer Corps in recent days, it was found that the Mizukage of the Land of Water is collecting tailed beasts in private. This includes the 8 tails of Konoha. Kusuo Hitaki frowned when he heard it. It has nothing to do with him to catch the tailed beasts, and Uchiha Obito will naturally go to grab them. But if he wants to move Konoha, it is a taboo for Kusuo Hitaki. Hinata and Shion are resting in Konoha at the moment. If the Mizukage's plan hurts the two, Kusuo Hitaki will naturally not let the Mizukage go. Is there anything else? Kusuo Hitaki asked coldly. Ibiki Mori was frightened and trembled all over. Orochimaru recently tested the impure world reincarnation technique, and the 7 ninja swordsmen were resurrected. Oh. This news actually aroused Kusuo Hitaki's interest. Resurrecting these people is undoubtedly a good opportunity for Kusuo Hitaki to obtain weapons. Any news you want to tell me besides this? Ibiki Moriki shook his head quickly. That's all. No other news has been found for the time being. Kusuo Hitaki nodded slightly. Kusuo Hitaki didn't have too many thoughts about the sudden action of the Land of Water. Just kill the Mizukage and it will be fine. Don't do anything about the Mizukage yet. I'll go and see for myself. After the words fell, footsteps were heard outside the house. Moriki Ibiki quickly disappeared into the darkness. Hitaki Kusuo frowned slightly. The person who came was Shari. Is there anything else? Didn't the things already come to you? Shari blushed when she heard it. I just want to ask, when can you take me with you, Master Hitaki Kusuo? After Shari finished speaking, Hitaki Kusuo immediately heard the sound outside the house. It turned out that the previous Star Shadow had been dealt with. Now the entire Star Ninja village is leaderless. Shari is naturally the best choice for leader at this time. But Shari's heart is not here. Shari insisted on giving this position to his 16-year-old child. But this matter was rejected by other people in the village. I happen to be going on a mission tomorrow. If you are interested, you can go with me. Shari was happy when he heard it. That's great, Master Hitaki Kusuo, I'll go back and make preparations. Seeing Natsuhi's back after he left, Hitaki Kusuo sighed softly. This trip is a fatal test for Natsuhi. Natsuhi no longer has the power he had before. Any ninjutsu he uses will consume all the power in his body. But Hitaki Kusuo knows that Natsuhi will have to go through this sooner or later. And Hitaki Kusuo still needs Natsuhi to pass on his peacock secret technique to the members of the Demon Slayer Corps. It's a good thing to be able to go out and hone the relationship with Natsuhi this time. It seems that I should wait until this matter is over before I can go back to see Hinata. Hitaki Kusuo was out for quite a while this time. Especially before Hitaki Kusuo left, Hinata's eyes had just become the latest Samsara eye. I don't know how Hinata is doing now. But when Hitaki Kusuo thought of the Mizukage who was preparing to take action, he suddenly felt angry again. What Hitaki Kusuo is asking for now is the strongest opponent. Obviously, he had made the most perfect plan. If he was interrupted by him, Kusuo Hitaki would never give up. So the best choice now is to kill the Mizukage before he can do anything. The next day, early morning. As soon as Kusuo Hitaki opened his eyes, Shari rushed out of the door. Master Kusuo Hitaki, I have been waiting at the door for a long time. Kusuo Hitaki looked at Shari's appearance and was not surprised. If you are ready, we can set off now. He said and threw a document directly into Shari's hand. This is the mission we are going to perform this time. The mission card that Kusuo Hitaki gave to Shari was the one that Ibiki Moriki rushed out overnight last night. The information recorded in detail the current situation of the Mizukage and the possible location of the Mizukage. But when Shari took the mission card, his eyelids jumped. Chapter 243. Shari was extraordinary and had gone out of the village to perform missions before. As for the levels of some tasks, he naturally had some understanding. But the task in his hand was actually an S-level task. And the content of the task was only a simple sentence. Kill the Mizukage. Isn't this Mizukage from one of the 5 great villages? Shari looked at Kusuo Hitaki with a surprised look. But Kusuo Hitaki looked at Shari very calmly. It's the Mizukage from one of the 5 great countries. Is there any problem? Shari was stunned at first, then nodded. Don't worry, Master Kusuo Hitaki. No matter what task you give me, I will definitely complete it seriously. After saying that, Shari patted his chest heavily a few times. Seeing Shari so serious, Kusuo Hitaki's eyes tightened. Kusuo Hitaki had already felt that the original power of the star in Shari's body was constantly weakening. All this was because the power of the star had been completely deprived. But at this moment, Shari didn't notice these abnormalities at all. Kusuo Hitaki didn't say much. Because Kusuo Hitaki knew that if he relied too much on Captain Nagu, it would not be a good thing for Shari. Shari was extremely talented. Just the strength before training could make her an outstanding female ninja in the village. She even became the leader of a coup. All these points show Shari's strength. Do you want to say goodbye to anyone before you leave? Kusuo Hitaki knew that Shari was a mother after all. Before leaving, she might have something to say to her child. But Shari shook her head unexpectedly. No need, Lord Kusuo Hitaki, we can set off now. Kusuo Hitaki was a little surprised by this scene. Kusuo Hitaki nodded and took the lead to leave here. Come with me. After leaving the village, Kusuo Hitaki and Shari jumped on the tree trunks a few times and left here. Before leaving, Shari looked back and looked up at the Star Ninja village. Although Shari had left the village to perform some tasks. But those actions were against the village rules after all. So Shari stayed in the village most of the time. This was also the first time Shari officially left the village, opened the village. The two walked forward, and no one spoke. But after rushing for a while, the two had arrived at the border between the land of fire and the land of water. Wait a minute. Hitaki Kusuo's body suddenly stopped. What's wrong? Master Hitaki Kusuo. Shari immediately looked around with a serious face. When Shari was about to perform the peacock magic, Hitaki Kusuo suddenly stopped Shari. Don't do it yet. Hitaki Kusuo planned to let Shari use this power when fighting the Mizukage. After all, Shari didn't realize that there was no way to replenish his power once he lost it. Okay, Master Hitaki Kusuo. After speaking, Shari sat on the ground. Hitaki Kusuo was traveling very fast. Even if Shari followed Hitaki Kusuo, it was a bit difficult. Don't sit down yet, we have been followed. After hearing this, Shari was a little surprised. Why didn't you find any enemy nearby? Please give me flowers. Hearing what Shari said, Kusuo Hitaki was not surprised. Because the opponent's invisibility ability is very good. Even Kusuo Hitaki did not use his naked eyes to find the opponent's hiding place, but used the transparent world in his body. Master Kusuo Hitaki, can you tell me how you guessed their location? At this moment, Shari could only attribute what Kusuo Hitaki said to his experience. But Kusuo Hitaki did smile slightly. This kind of thing does not need to be guessed. When a person goes out and encounters anything, he must ensure that the news is foolproof. After being told this, Shari felt a little ashamed. But we have just left the village not long ago, and we are now at the border. How could the opponent ambush us here? Shari was still a little puzzled. But Shari didn't know that the team ambushing behind him was sent by Orochimaru. After launching the ninjutsu, he naturally knew what happened in the Star Ninja Village. So Orochimaru was ready to take back the ninjutsu he had handed over at the first time. But what he didn't expect was that he actually hit a nail this time. If such a team really met Hitaki Kusuo, it would be a waste of life. Hitaki Kusuo could clearly feel that the team that was ambushing them secretly had been divided into two teams. Hitaki Kusuo knew in his heart that there was no need to think that they must be a team as a feint attack, and the other team rushed out from the front. Now they can't wait. Since they are ready to take action, let's prepare to fight. Chapter 244. Hitaki Kusuo could feel that the teams hiding around them here had gradually become a joint attack. Assassination team, Captain, this is it. As long as we can kill that person, I think we will earn a lot of commission. After listening to the conversation between these ninjas, Kusuo Hitaki knew that these people should be mercenaries. That is, the kind of rebellious ninjas in some villages. They live a life of licking blood on the edge of a knife every day. The most important thing they have to do is to kill the person the host requires directly after accepting the mission. It seems that the person who is now receiving the quality of 830 should want to take something from the two of them, or want to kill one of them. Kusuo Hitaki turned his head and glanced at Shari. Have you offended anyone recently? Shari shook her head quickly. I usually follow the rules of the village. I never leave, and even if I leave, I will return quickly within a few days. Kusuo Hitaki was a little surprised. In the original work, the Star Ninja Village has strict discipline. But I didn't expect that Shari was really sticking to the old rules. Master Kusuo, what should we do now? This was the first time that Shari encountered such a situation, so she was a little panicked. What else do you know besides the peacock magic? Hitaki Kusuo's question stunned Shari. Besides the peacock magic, I'm afraid. Only taijutsu. Shari's voice became smaller and smaller. Her taijutsu was probably only at the level of a chunin. There were only two kinds of people in the Star Ninja Village, one who practiced the power of stars. And the other was ordinary people. No chakra at all. For taijutsu, it was just to make better use of the power of stars. If she left the peacock magic, Shari would not be able to use too many ninjutsu for a while. Okay. Hitaki Kusuo also had some understanding of Shari. Suddenly, Hitaki Kusuo's expression became serious. Left and right, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Yes. Master Kusuo. Shari quickly took out the shuriken and threw it in the direction indicated by Hitaki Kusuo. As expected, screams were heard from two directions immediately. Hearing the sound, Shari looked at Hitaki Kusuo in shock. No matter how you look at it, Hitaki Kusuo doesn't look like a perception-type ninja. But the direction that Hitaki Kusuo judged did meet the enemy. Now is the critical moment. Don't look at me if there is nothing. Hearing the rebuke from Kusuo Hitaki, Shari immediately stood straight ahead, holding the two shuriken in his hands tightly. Watch out for the enemy in front. After Kusuo Hitaki finished speaking, Shari immediately threw the shuriken in his hand. Two more screams came from the front. Lord Kusuo Hitaki, how did you judge that there was an enemy on the other side? Hearing Shari's question, Kusuo Hitaki guessed in his heart. At this time, Shari almost didn't know any other ninjutsu except the peacock magic. However, Kusuo Hitaki was not angry about this. With Shari's strength and talent, if he could be carefully cultivated by Kusuo Hitaki, then Shari's future would be promising. You can't learn these things in one day. Now deal with the enemy seriously. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari also tightened the shuriken in his hand. Shari knew in his heart that Hitaki Kusuo wanted to train himself. Suddenly, Hitaki Kusuo flashed in front of Shari. Shari was stunned at first, and then her cheeks flushed. What are you thinking about? After hearing Hitaki Kusuo's cold voice, Shari came back to his senses. I'm sorry, Master Hitaki Kusuo, I was a little distracted just now. Shari just finished speaking, and suddenly heard the sound of the blade behind Hitaki Kusuo and the shuriken colliding. You are so weak, and you don't deal with the enemy seriously. If it weren't for me helping you, you would have been dead by now. After hearing what Hitaki Kusuo said, Shari immediately took his weapon and looked straight ahead seriously. But no matter how Shari concentrated his attention, he couldn't find the trace of the enemy nearby. Master Kusuo Hitaki, can I use the peacock magic? Hearing Shari's question, Kusuo Hitaki hesitated for a while. You must know that the star in your village is now in my hands. And the chakra contained in it has been taken away by me. If you use the peacock magic in your body, it may be difficult to recover. If you have confidence, it's up to you. Shari hesitated for a while, but still used it immediately. Peacock magic. Open. For a moment, wings transformed by chakra bloomed around Shari. At this time, the enemies in the distance had clearly appeared in front of Shari. This time, Shari did not choose to use ninja tools, but used his own chakra to transform into a hidden weapon for attack. Puff. After a few sounds, all the enemies not far away fell to the ground. Chapter 245. After seeing this scene, Kusuo Hitaki raised his eyebrows. This was also the first time that Kusuo Hitaki saw Konk Mieve fighting with other ninjas. I didn't expect that he could perform such a powerful ninjutsu. There are still 2 final opponents nearby. If you can kill them, you will pass the test. Shari was stunned at first, but quickly picked up his weapon. With Shari's full strength, he could only find the ninjas just now. But according to Kusuo Hitaki, the 2 people hiding nearby should be assassination ninjas. They should be keen on carrying out assassination missions. With your strength, it should be easy to kill those senior ninjas just now, but try these 2 now. This time, Kusuo Hitaki didn't mean to attack. When Shari was about to make a seal, he found that the chakra in his body had indeed decreased. And this chakra was no longer the same as before. The chakra in Shari's body had become disposable chakra. Shari frowned slightly when he saw this. Master Hitaki Kusuo, I don't have as much chakra in my body as before. Hearing what Shari said, Hitaki Kusuo seemed unusually calm. I know. Just when Shari was about to speak, a hidden weapon suddenly flew over from the front. Peacock magic. Defense. Instantly, a protective shield formed by chakra appeared in front of Shari. It seems that you are still not used to leaving this ninjutsu. After Hitaki Kusuo finished speaking, Shari immediately realized what Hitaki Kusuo meant. At this time, every time Shari used a point of chakra in his body, he would lose a point of chakra in his body. If you can use other ninjutsu in your body to attack, it will bring a significant improvement to your future strength. Shari turned his head and glanced at Hitaki Kusuo, and found that Hitaki Kusuo was standing there and had no intention of helping. Don't worry, Master Hitaki Kusuo, I will definitely be able to complete this mission well. After speaking, Shari immediately took the sword in his hand and rushed forward. Ping ping. The sound of several weapons colliding rang out. Not long after, Shari retreated from the battlefield in front. But this time, Shari had several more scars on his body. It seems that those 2 people are quite powerful. Even you have been injured. Hitaki Kusuo looked at Shari with interest, but the knife in his hand had not even left the knife. Based on Hitaki Kusuo's understanding of Shari, the 2 people in front of him should beckon be dealt with. Even if Shari is really no match for these 2. Hitaki Kusuo will definitely help at the critical moment. Shari's chakra has gradually drained away when dealing with these 2 alone. If it weren't for Shari's good training before, Shari would have fallen to the ground at this time. I believe you can continue to fight with your own strength. After hearing Hitaki Kusuo's encouragement, Shari once again clenched his shuriken. Shari took out a detonating tag from his pocket with his other hand. Hitaki Kusuo was slightly stunned when he saw this. Hitaki Kusuo knew that people in the Star Ninja village often made good use of these detonating tags. It's just that I don't know how Shari is going to use it now. When Hitaki Kusuo thought that Shari would throw the shuriken away, Shari actually pressed the detonating tag tightly in his palm and rushed forward. You. Just when Hitaki Kusuo was about to speak, a loud explosion came from not far away. Natsuhi. Hitaki Kusuo's figure disappeared instantly. After the smoke of the explosion, Natsuhi's figure stood in the middle. And the person in front of Natsuhi was a subordinate of the Mizukage. And the other person was not far in front of Natsuhi, and he looked almost dead. How did you kill him? Hitaki Kusuo asked. I just threw this detonating tag when the two of them tried to control me at close range. In fact, Hitaki Kusuo had already seen this scene from a distance. Natsuhi held the shuriken with the detonating tag in his hand. He took out another shuriken from his pocket. When Natsuhi was besieged by the two, Natsuhi took advantage of the situation and threw it towards the two's body. Then he shot the tail with another shuriken. The second acceleration will make the shuriken speed up quickly, and then explode under Natsuhi's urging. Just Natsuhi's smooth shuriken was enough to surprise even Hitaki Kusuo. Although Kusuo Hitaki is best at using swords, his shuriken is not so flexible. But I never thought that you could use this small shuriken so skillfully. Sir, you are too kind. Shari immediately took 2 steps back and bowed to Kusuo Hitaki. But it was precisely because the two of them were separated that Kusuo Hitaki had the opportunity to use his transparent world to observe the situation in Shari's body. Chapter 246. At this moment, the chakra in Shari's body is less than half. Now the chakra in your body is less than half, what are you going to do? After hearing this, Shari's face was a little nervous. The people here have been dealt with, let's talk about it next time we meet someone. But when Shari just finished speaking, several figures immediately appeared in front of him. It seems that the other party's speed of action is much faster than we thought. Hitaki Kusuo looked at the people in front of him with contempt, but Shari's eyes were very solemn. I'll leave these people to you, okay? Shari's eyes were a little hesitant, but he still held the shuriken in his hand tightly. Seeing Shari's high spirits, Hitaki Kusuo felt a little relieved. It's the most appropriate to choose such a person to teach him the peacock magic of the Demon Slayer Corps. Don't worry. I can take care of these people. After Shari finished speaking, he quickly made a seal and rushed up to wrestle with several people. This time, Shari cherished the chakra in his body. But the ninjas on the opposite side didn't care about these. Water escape. Water dragon bullet. A huge water dragon bullet was shot at Shari's face. Shari and his body were instantly beaten back a few steps. Mr. Hitaki Kusuo was about to step forward, but was stopped by Shari. Master Hitaki Kusuo, just hand these people over to me. Fire escape technique. Peacock magic technique. After hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo looked at Shari in shock. In the original work, Hitaki Kusuo only knew that Shari had the chakra of the stars. But it was the first time that Hitaki Kusuo saw that she still had fire escape chakra in her body. The huge flaming wings took shape behind Daozi, and Shari's body gradually flew into the air with the help of the fire shield. This is. Looking at Shari like this, Hitaki Kusuo's eyes were a little excited. May I ask if Hitaki Kusuo is still worried that if other chakras are added, the peacock magic technique will not be able to adapt? But now Shari has proved with facts that all this is not a problem. Ah! A trace of blood left the corner of Shari's mouth. Seeing this, Hitaki Kusuo was about to step forward, but was stopped by Shari. It's okay, Master Hitaki Kusuo. I've never used this power before, and it's a bit harmful to my body. And my health wasn't very good before. Hitaki Kusuo also put down his hand. Because Shari had been practicing the power of meteorites before, the damage to the human body was very serious. Using the power of fire now is likely to be a backlash of some damage. You go and rest, and I'll take care of the rest. Hitaki Kusuo immediately stopped him, and Shari drew out his short knife alone. The people in front of him fell down quickly under the attack of Hitaki Kusuo. On the ground. Isn't this man Kusuo Hitaki from the Land of Fire? The teams in the dark quickly recognized Kusuo Hitaki's identity. How could he be in our planned target? Retreat quickly, don't attack anymore. At the leader's command, the teams in the surrounding woods quickly retreated in the opposite direction. But after watching everyone leave, Shari finally felt relieved. A mouthful of blood spurted out of Shari's mouth. Are you okay? Kusuo Hitaki gently patted Shari's back. Shari wiped a trace of blood from the corner of his mouth and looked up at Kusuo Hitaki. Don't worry, there is nothing wrong with Lord Kusuo Hitaki. Although several teams have evacuated, there is still a team of Mizukage's Anbu waiting for Kusuo Hitaki not far away. Captain, do we have the strength to deal with Kusuo Hitaki? For the sake of our Mizukage master, we must kill Kusuo Hitaki here. In fact, Kusuo Hitaki had already discovered the traces of these people. It was just because Shari was seriously injured at the moment, so Kusuo Hitaki had no intention of caring about these people. Suddenly, Shari stared at Kusuo Hitaki with wide eyes. Master Kusuo Hitaki, I found a group of people in the distance. Kusuo Hitaki nodded, but at the same time gently patted Shari's shoulder. Don't pay attention to these people. If they take action, I will naturally deal with them. Shari stood up directly with the help of a tree beside him. No, these people must be handed over to me. After the voice fell, Shari immediately shouted. Peacock magic. Burn. Instantly, a large amount of flames burned from Shari's side. For a moment, even the surrounding forest began to become hot. The Anbu team not far away soon felt the power of the flame chakra. How did that person do this? Looking at the two huge peacock wings burning behind Shari, even the people around the Mizukage were a little surprised. Don't worry about his problem. It seems that our identities have been exposed. In this case, we might as well take action directly. After the captain said this, the other people no longer hid. Chapter 247. Several Anbu ninjas immediately took out their weapons and rushed towards Hitaki Kusuo and Shari. They are coming. Hitaki Kusuo reminded, and at the same time, he looked at Shari with a worried look. Don't worry. Lord Kusuo. Shari's eyes suddenly opened. A strong chakra burst out from Shari's eyes. Even Hitaki Kusuo had already felt the anger contained in this chakra. With Shari as the center, the area around 30 meters was all burning with flames, and no grass grew. Hurry back and report to the Mizukage. This is the very difficult enemy we met. When they had just become ninjas and were about to report back to the village, a support suddenly appeared behind the four of them. Are you going to report? Shari looked at them jokingly. With their strength, there was no chance of escape now. But these people immediately drew out their swords and rushed back to Hitaki Kusuo. Seeing this, Hitaki Kusuo raised his eyebrows. It seems that these people are really tired of living. As soon as Hitaki Kusuo drew his sword, the bodies of the people in front of him fell down. For such a weak person, Hitaki Kusuo was too lazy to use the usual sun breathing. And the remaining few people set their sights on Shari. Shari quickly came to Hitaki Kusuo's side. Master Hitaki Kusuo, aren't these people afraid of death? Hitaki Kusuo shook his head. People like this usually rely on the death guards around me. With their personalities, they will never be afraid of death. Shari's eyes suddenly became tense. Is your body okay? I see that the peacock magic you are performing is getting weaker and weaker. Hitaki Kusuo can use his transparent world to clearly see the situation inside Shari's body. Although the number of people used by Shari is getting stronger and stronger. But the damage in Shari's body is indeed getting bigger and bigger. Today, we will do our best to kill them here. One of them drew his knife and rushed towards Shari. People of the Land of Fire, die. After a roar, a knife instantly slashed towards Shari. Shari did not dodge, but stood in place and immediately performed the peacock magic. Peacock magic. Defense. A huge protective barrier instantly appeared in front of Shari. The knife chopped on the barrier, and stopped with a bang. Not good. Retreat. Several Anbu ninjas shouted. At this moment, a strong flame had burst out from Shari's body. Even Hitaki Kusuo was a little surprised to see this scene. Fire escape. Phoenix fire technique. Although Hitaki Kusuo didn't know where Shari learned these ninjutsu. But the ninjutsu Shari displayed at this moment was very powerful. Even Uchiha Itachi would be ashamed to see this scene. The powerful flame instantly surrounded the bodies of several Anbu ninjas. Run, he has already. Before the Anbu ninja finished speaking, the flames had completely engulfed his body. After a burst of flames, Shari finally stopped. But a mouthful of blood gushed out of Shari's mouth at the same time. Hitaki Kusuo knew very well that this was all because the peacock magic was previously controlled by Xing. Shari's body is now at the end of its strength. But even in such a weak situation, Shari still exerted such a powerful ninjutsu. So Shari's body naturally could not withstand the damage caused by these chakras. Hitaki Kusuo was looking at the people in front of him. All the Anbu ninjas had been engulfed by the flames just now. Even these ninjas did not scream before they died. Shari fell directly to the ground with a flutter. Hitaki Kusuo gently walked to Shari's side and helped Shari up. Are they all dead? But when Shari looked up, he found that the people in front of him had been burned to ashes. Even the forest in front of him had been cleared by Shari. Seeing that the ninjutsu he had displayed was so powerful, Shari was so scared that a trace of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Master Hitaki Kusuo, Hitaki Kusuo comforted him. It's nothing, you did a good job. Go quickly. It's not safe here. Hitaki Kusuo stood up, and Shari also stood up with difficulty. You have very little chakra left in your body now. Are you sure you don't want to go back in this state? But Shari shook his head. Don't worry, Hitaki Kusuo only beats people when he encounters some opponents of this level, it's not a big problem. After saying that, Shari immediately leaned against a tree nearby and tried her best to force out a smile towards Kusuo Hitaki. Under the leadership of Kusuo Hitaki, Shari and the others continued to walk towards the water country. But as they walked, Kusuo Hitaki suddenly turned back to look at the forest that had just been burned. Look at Shari next to him again. This woman can actually exert such power, no wonder she can suppress the backlash of the stars. Chapter 248. What's wrong? Lord Kusuo. Shari turned her head and looked at Kusuo Hitaki. Kusuo Hitaki shook his head repeatedly. When we get to the water country later, if it's not a last resort, you must not use the chakra in your body like you did just now. The trick you used just now has attracted the attention of many people around us. Shari's eyes were a little dim, but she still nodded in obedience to Kusuo Hitaki. Shari was not what she wanted this time. It was because the fire chakra, combined with the power of the peacock magic, was a little difficult to control. Shari looked at her hands. There were also some burning scars on the palms. This was all caused by the explosion of the fire chakra in her body just now. The fire chakra will also burn the user himself while performing it. This is also the only drawback of the peacock magic. Kusuo Hitaki walked in front, and Shari followed closely behind Kusuo Hitaki. It seems that the strength of Lord Kusuo Hitaki is really extraordinary. Sha Rishao cast a look of envy at Kusuo Hitaki. That look was full of admiration. Although Kusuo Hitaki had felt Shari's eyes, he still pretended not to see it. After all, it is normal for people to be admired for their strength. Just like now, Kusuo Hitaki is not only favored by Shari, but many people in other places are very dependent on Kusuo Hitaki. Kusuo Hitaki took Shari and continued to rush towards the land of water. Because the distance between the land of water and the Star Ninja village is very far. After rushing for a while, the two still did not reach their destination. If it was only Kusuo Hitaki, they could have reached the land of water long ago. But with Shari, the speed would be much slower. Shari had no way to perform the peacock magic at this moment. The speed was even slower. There is a dilapidated house ahead, let's rest here. Hitaki Kusuo has already sensed the changes in Shari's body. Although Shari looked normal on the surface, but the chakra flow in Shari's body was extremely chaotic. If it is not repaired, it is very likely that the meridians in Shari's body will be completely damaged. Shari was stunned at first, then nodded in agreement. Looking around, this should be the only abandoned wooden house nearby. Shari walked in first. Hitaki Kusuo then walked into the house and turned around to close the door. You adjust your chakra first. Shari immediately closed his eyes and began to operate the chakra in his body. The battle just now was the first time that Shari mobilized the fire chakra in his body. Not only was he very unfamiliar with the use, but it also caused a certain degree of damage to his body. Hitaki Kusuo sat in place and took out the 2 scrolls he got from Xingying. Puppetry. Hitaki Kusuo looked at one of the scrolls, thinking. Oshimaru got this scroll, and it was absolutely impossible to give it away easily. So the scroll in Hitaki Kusuo's hand now should be just a copy. According to Orochimaru's habit, the last experiment was very successful, so it won't be long before Orochimaru will definitely look for another ninja village to conduct experiments. It's just that Kusuo Hitaki is not clear about the purpose of Orochimaru collecting the chakra of the tailed beasts. In the original work, Orochimaru only used the impure world reincarnation. Zero, please give me flowers. But now Orochimaru has not only resurrected the 7 ninja swordsmen, but the plan of the Mizukage is also closely related to her. Lord Kusuo Hitaki, my body has almost recovered. After hearing the voice, Kusuo Hitaki put down the scroll in his hand and looked up at Shari. In the transparent world, Kusuo Hitaki can feel that the chakra in Tauzi's body has stabilized a lot. But it still has not reached normal stability. The chakra in your body is not fully controlled yet, you should have a good rest. Shari looked at Kusuo Hitaki with some surprise. Lord Kusuo, you. No need to say more. Just adjust the chakra in your body. Hitaki Kusuo took Shari with him this time, and he also had his own selfish motives. At least Shari cannot die now, and her body cannot be harmed in any way. I will definitely practice well. After Shari finished speaking, she began to adjust the chakra in her body. But Hitaki Kusuo immediately looked down at the scroll in his hand. The ninjutsu recorded in the scroll, the perfect puppet, is to use chakra to transform a normal person into a puppet. The puppets made by this manufacturing method not only have extraordinary combat power, and they can also perform ninjutsu in battle. Even in normal inspections, it is difficult to find the chakra threads controlled between the 2 of them. I really don't know who developed this puppet technique. But Hitaki Kusuo knew in his heart that if this ninjutsu fell into the hands of Orochimaru, Orochimaru would definitely use this ninjutsu to the extreme, and even modify it. The Star Ninja Village is just an example. Chapter 249. In addition, Orochimaru is now collecting the chakra of the tailed beasts everywhere. There must be a connection between the 2. Until the next day, when it was almost dawn, Shari slowly opened his eyes. The chakra in your body is much better than the day before. The power of the stars has also been suppressed a lot. Shari then discovered that it turned out that Hitaki Kusuo had been sitting next to Shari and had not closed his eyes all night. Master Hitaki Kusuo. Why didn't you rest? Hitaki Kusuo did not explain, but suddenly got up and walked out the door. Shari spent the whole night adjusting the chakra in his body last night, and did not notice the situation of the 833 outside the room. However, with Shari's current strength, it is difficult to find those people outside the door. Last night, after the 2 came to this room, the Mizukage sent more than 3 Anbu ninjas to search for the whereabouts of Hitaki Kusuo and Shari. It's just that Hitaki Kusuo has been suppressing his strength and was not discovered by the other party. After pushing open the door, Kusuo Hitaki faced the breeze in the mountains. Adjust your state and continue on your way. Shari lowered his head and stretched out his hand, just about to take out a marching ration. It turned out that his bag had been broken in the previous battle. Just as Kusuo Hitaki was about to leave, a gurgling sound suddenly came from Shari's stomach. Hungry. Kusuo Hitaki turned his head to look at Shari. Shari was about to deny it, but nodded immediately. According to Shari's current hunger, it would not take long for her to show her true colors. Wait here. As soon as the voice fell, Kusuo Hitaki's figure immediately disappeared from the original place. In just a few minutes, Kusuo Hitaki reappeared in front of him. This time, Kusuo Hitaki had 2 more bags in his hands. The bags were filled with marching rations from the land of water. Kusuo Hitaki stretched out his hand and threw the bag directly to Shari. Eat quickly, and then we'll be on the road. Shari looked at the marching rations handed over by Hitaki Kusuo in shock. Generally, only ninjas from the Anbu can carry marching rations of such concentration. From this point of view, Hitaki Kusuo should have killed several Anbu from the land of water just now. Shari quickly grabbed 2 handfuls of marching rations and threw them into his mouth. In a few minutes, Shari packed his bag. Let's continue on our journey. From today on, I will do less by myself, and leave more opportunities to you. You are not very compatible with the fire chakra in your body now. Only multiple battles can give you more experience and let you perfectly control the fire chakra. Shari nodded and followed behind obediently. Hitaki Kusuo didn't want to delay too long. After all, Hinata and Shion had been waiting for him in the land of fire for a long time. Hitaki Kusuo's main goal this time was to kill the Mizukage. By the way, I can take this opportunity to make Shari and I have a more perfect understanding. At the same time, it can also allow Shari to control his own strength more perfectly. Okay, don't worry, I will never let you down if Hitaki Kusuo hits someone. The two continued to move forward, but not long after, a thick fog suddenly appeared in the forest. It's foggy ahead, Hitaki Kusuo, should we rest here? Hearing Shari's sound, Hitaki Kusuo waved his hands. There is a strong water chakra in this forest. So this fog must be man-made. Zero. Hitaki Kusuo suddenly reacted. This is the mist-hidden art of the land of water. Pay attention to the surrounding situation. Hitaki Kusuo reminded. Hitaki Kusuo's strength is no problem even if he meets the ninja of the land of water. But Shari's current strength is not that strong. Moreover, Shari's chakra is fire type. In the case of such a strong water difference, the strength will be greatly reduced. Master Hitaki Kusuo. Look at our feet. Just when Shari and Hitaki Kusuo suddenly stopped, a huge whirlpool appeared under their feet. And the whirlpool slowly began to rotate, pulling the bodies of the 2 people into the ground. It's just a trap ninjutsu. Seeing this ninjutsu, Hitaki Kusuo was not in a hurry at the time. The opponent used such a ninjutsu. If other ninjas were hit by it, they would die here. However, Kusuo Hitaki didn't care about such a number of people. Suo Hitaki just jumped lightly and jumped out of the ground. Looking at Shari in the whirlpool now, Shari has tried his best, but his body is still sucking towards the depths of the ground. Peacock magic. Fire. Shari's body instantly ignited back, and 2 huge wings slowly appeared from behind Shari. At this moment, Shari could no longer suppress the chakra in his body. Suo Hitaki was a little surprised. This time, the meridians in Shari's body were relatively normal. It was not as terrible as the last time he ran away. It seems that he has found a way to repair the meridians in his body. Chapter 250. Suo Hitaki knew that if his meridians were destroyed by chakra, he would not be able to be a ninja anymore. Water escape. Water bullet technique. Just when Shari's body was about to escape, countless water bullets hit back at Shari's body. Fire escape. Phoenix fire technique. Shari shouted. A large number of fireballs were spit out from Shari's mouth in an instant. All the fireballs collided perfectly with the water bullets that came over. The sound of steam instantly came from the air. Seeing this scene, Hitaki Kusuo nodded with satisfaction. By now, Shari's strength has improved a lot. Who is this person? We have so many people working at the same time, but we can't control her. 06. At this moment, the Anbu ninja hiding in the dark has discovered Shari. But they don't know that Hitaki Kusuo has already been watching everything from them not far away. Although the forest here is already full of fog. But Hitaki Kusuo can rely on the transparent world in his body to find their location. After casting the fire shield, Shari rushed out from the ground. These few people are in your hands. Can you handle them? When Shari turned around, Kusuo Hitaki had already appeared behind her. Don't worry, Master Kusuo Hitaki. They can't hurt me with their strength. After hearing this, Kusuo Hitaki nodded and jumped onto a tree beside him without hesitation. Kusuo Hitaki is very curious about Shari's strength. The fire cast by Shari has gradually disappeared. In the dark, the Anbu of the land of water. Captain, what should we do? I just vaguely seem to see two people. The captain of the Anbu looked solemn. Now we have 10 people divided into 2 groups. Pick out 4 of them and start looking for the figure that just appeared. The rest of you, come with me to kill the man in front of you. These people received the task from the Mizukage, which is to resolutely kill the people who come to this place. In addition, due to the fog in the forest, they could not see clearly that the person in front of them was Shari and Hitaki Kusuo. If they found out that one of the people in front of them was Hitaki Kusuo, they would definitely turn around and run away immediately. Although I don't have much combat experience, you are not my opponent at all. Come out. Shari quickly formed a seal and looked at the fog with confidence. Fire escape. Great fireball technique. The huge flame instantly evaporated all the steam in the forest. The figures of several people hiding not far away were also exposed at this moment. Since you have seen me, you will not be able to escape from here. The mission we received is to kill all the ninjas who come here. Since you are here, don't think about leaving. The captain of the Anbu waved his hand, and several people rushed up immediately. And he followed the others to look for the trace of the figure just now. In his eyes, with Shari's strength, it is estimated that it will not take more than a few people to kill her directly. Fire style. Phoenix fire technique. Shari once again used the fire shield ninjutsu. Several huge fireballs rushed towards the Anbu ninjas. Water style. Water dragon bullet technique. Water style. Water continuous bullet technique. Several people immediately used the water style ninjutsu to counterattack. Shari immediately used his, for more novels, 62,428 join. The attention was focused on the ninja who used the water link technique. Fire style. Big fireball technique. Instantly, a huge fireball was ejected from Shari's mouth. And the ninja hit by the fireball disappeared on the spot. Seeing this scene, Shari raised a satisfied smile at the corner of his mouth. It seems that after yesterday's adjustment, I have now controlled the fire chakra in my body very well. Shari was very satisfied with the change in his strength. However, several other ninjas surrounded Shari at the same time. Peacock magic. 2 wings made of flames instantly appeared behind Shari. The ninjas of the water country immediately looked suspicious. What is the origin of this guy? Why didn't he tell us his identity when we received the mission? One of the Anbu ninjas has realized the difficulty of this mission at this moment. At this point, everyone has no way out. Die. The Anbu ninja waved the long sword in his hand. The other people immediately cooperated with him to use ninjutsu. But the strength of these people alone was not enough for him to be afraid of. In just a few seconds, the bodies of these ninjas fell to the ground. Shari was alone holding a tree trunk beside him, gasping for breath. Although this time Shari's body was not backfired by the fire chakra like before. However, the damage to the body caused by years of cultivating the power of the planet is indeed not small. Puff. A mouthful of blood spurted out of Shari's mouth. Shari quickly took out a piece of paper and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. At this moment, Kusuo Hitaki and the captain were standing on 2 trees.